HaloGelato Familia, and we interrupt your regular public broadcasting for this breaking news announcement that once again Disney has jacked up the prices on practically everything. Normally, this usually isn't the time that I go live, but I think with all the news that has come out of late, especially out of Disney, I thought, you know what? I think it's a perfect time to do a little bit of an early live. And who to better to join me today than my very good friend, Mr. Theme Park Conductor himself. Welcome in, good sir.
Glad to be here. I'm glad to actually be on the new redesign of the old channel, new with HaloGelato. I'm so happy to be on here. Like George says, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can also find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And you can find me on Conductor Sunday live stream at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we have amazing guests like George from HaloGelato, Orange Grove 55, Tommy Toon World, Jared from Capture the Magic, and so many others as we break down Universal, Disney, and HHN Halloween season and the up and coming Christmas season.
Awesome. Perfect. And yeah, we definitely have a lot to look forward to, but all the more, we have some kind of breaking news. I'm going to actually share my screen, which I'm going to be sharing my screen a lot today because there's just like a lot going on. So this is compliments to Theme Park IQ. And this is actually the first one that I have seen. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here for all of you. Because Conductor, you actually brought it to my attention. I think it was around like 3 o'clock this morning. I get a notification on Instagram and you were like, you said something like, and so it begins or something like that. So starting today, October 8th, prices have increased, not just with Disneyland, but with Walt Disney World as well, which we'll get into it in a little bit. But it isn't just theme park tickets. I mean, it's all around. It's for the Magic Keys. It's for the annual passes at Walt Disney World. It's for Lightning Lane. It's for parking. There's even another article that was mentioning about Savi's workshop. So Disney like spent no time of like jacking up the prices on this. And so Conductor, being that you actually brought it to my attention before it actually broke out into the social media world, I'm actually going to let you take over right here. Sure. And you kind of give me your initial thought of when you first saw this before you actually sent it in the group chat.
So it's so funny you bring that up because 3 o'clock in the morning, I was actually at work and I actually went on break. And I saw this post from Theme Park IQ. I think he had it on Instagram on his stories. And shout out to Theme Park IQ for that. And my first thought was, I'm like, prices already. And it's funny because when I thought about that, George, you actually text me on Instagram, or I think it was just via text. You're like, they haven't built anything yet. They haven't opened anything yet from Disneyland Forward, and they're already increasing prices. And I have to tell you, having the Inspire key, it does have its benefits. Do not get me wrong, with the free parking, with having, I think it's 6 reservations you can make at a time. The fact that I think it's like 15% off of merch. I have to be honest with you, going up, and again, shout out to Theme Park IQ for making this chart for us. It's gone up 8.2% overnight, which is insane. And again, I know Disney loves to increase prices. I was expecting something like this, but my only issue is, why not sit there and increase it when at least the Avengers attractions are open? That's what I'm curious about.
Didn't realize I was on mute. So sorry, folks. See, that was my biggest and actually, Mademoiselle here says the perfect word. That's what I was so peeved about. Is it's not the fact that of them raising the prices. That's not the issue. The problem is how much they're increasing it at a time, and is it worth it? Right now, we're about to get a blast from the past with DCA.
Yeah.
If back in like 2010, 2011, 2012, when DCA became a labyrinth with Buena Vista Street and Carsland being, having construction done. We're about to see that happen again with uh with the Avengers expansion. Coco is about to start expansion after probably Halloween. God knows when they're going to start on Avatar, but they're saying sometime in 2026. So all construction walls are going to be up, which is fine. I'm okay with that because construction walls mean progress. It means expansion. I like that.
Yeah.
But you up the price for something like that, and you're reducing the amount that we can do. I think that really wasn't the best time to raise the price. I could see 100 for the Inspire key. It went up 8.2%.
Yeah.
$150. Again, that's a lot. That's steep. But here's the thing. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
But do that after Avengers, Coco, and Pandora open.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what the price is going to be when they do open?
Oh, man. So it's interesting you mention this because it seems like Disney has that knack for increasing prices every year. So I can imagine in 2026 when we have the two new Avengers rides and possibly Coco, but definitely the two Avengers rides, I could see the Inspire key being $2,000 a year if you decide to pay it outright, and parking could probably go up to $50 by the time those two attractions open. And the problem I see, this is the issue I see, because you you brought up a great point. DCA is going to be what I called Epcot a few years ago, Wall City. You're going to have construction walls everywhere. And then I think it was Theme Park Wizard or Scott Gustin or both of them just reported today a new permit was filed for the bus unload and load area for construction fences to go up in that area. So that means less security checkpoints are going to be available to get into either downtown Disney or the Esplanade to get into either Disneyland or DCA. So that causes another problem. Then on top of that, I just want to go with this real quick, because we've talked about the Halloween event for Oogie Boogie Bass possibly being transferred back over to Disneyland while DCA is under construction, and DCA is going to start reducing hours. So that's a problem.
Well, in DCA right now, just the park itself, it's a great park. I have fun at that park, but I'm a local. I go there very often. For someone that is just traveling, coming in, DCA right now is not a full day park.
No,
it's a half day park. So you're going to not even say full day prices because they just jacked it up like significantly, and you're getting less. Like even right now, Radiator Springs Racers is still done right now for refurbishment. So did it reopen?
No, it did reopen.
Okay, it did reopen. Okay, I apologize. So it did reopen. Okay. So but still, it's still not significant enough for a full day price. No. I'm sorry, it isn't. And Christian Sanchez, welcome in. What is the most expensive thing that you have spent at Disneyland? As of right now, probably my Magic Key, honestly. Yep. Because I don't really spend a whole lot like on merch, unless it's something that I really, really like. But yeah, I think as of right now, it's probably the Magic Key. And honestly, kudos to a good friend, Mr. Webba, because he actually encouraged me to renew my Believe Key to Inspire before all this happened. And I thought, maybe I'll wait because it'll be like a $20 or $25 bump. I'm okay with that. Yeah. No, it's $150. So I'm glad that he actually enticed me to do so. But what say you, conductor? What's the most expensive thing you spent at Disneyland?
So I'm going to agree with you on this one. It is the Magic Key, but besides that, I think the most expensive thing at the time when I bought it was doing the lightsaber experience at Sabi's workshop, paying, I think it was what was it, $219 now, and I George is going to show a post coming up, but now even those prices increase for not only Sabi's workshop but the Droid Depot. So I think Sabi's workshop, if I'm not mistaken, George, went up $30.
I believe so. Yeah, I'll bring that up. And before I do, I just want to run through this really quick. So the ticket prices, they have them color coded here. Tier 0 still stays at a 104, 0% change, because let's face it, that's like 1 day out of the year. It's at tier 0. Tier 1 goes from 126 to 129. Tier 2, 142 to 149. Wow. 164 to 169 was tier 3. Tier 4, 180 to 184. Tier 5, 196 to 199. Tier 6, 206 to 224. And then to add on the park hopper, it originally was between 65 to 75. Now it jumps from 70 to 90.
Wow.
Now coming down here to the second column, this is for the Magic Keys. Imagine, which is the lowest tier, stays at $599. Enchant also stays, they're saying $974 to $974. Now, really quick, before I move on to that, Mr. Webber gave me a good point on that yes, even though Imagine and Enchant stay the same, but here's the thing. They don't include parking, and parking went up.
Yes.
So even though you may keep your price of the Magic Key, you're now still paying more with parking. So either way, you're paying for something.
Yeah.
Believe was at $1374. It went up a whole $100, $1474. And Inspire went from $1749 to $1899, basically $1,900. $100 shy of $2,000 for the highest Magic Key at Disneyland.
Wow.
And then the final tier down here, it's kind of smaller. This is for Lightning Lane, was at $36, and now it is at $40. Lightning Lane Premier was between $299 to $399. Now it's at $399 to $499. Parking went from $35 to $40, as Brian had also mentioned in the chat, and preferred parking went from $55 to $60.
So I want to talk about, just for a second, the pass and the Lightning Lane. If you could bring that up one more time, George.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so this is where I could see my angle of this. I know Webber has his angle. This is where I could see my angle on the passes on the Magic Keys. I honestly do believe the reason Imagine and Enchant have not changed prices is because not enough people have those passes because of the parking. The reason the Believe and the Inspire, especially the Inspire, went up as high as it did because most people that own a Magic Key have those two keys. And Enchant and Imagine, not really. But it could also go with what Webb is saying about the parking. And then if you look at the third column with Lightning Lane, I'm actually surprised Lightning Lane itself didn't go up to 45, maybe $50, because everyone seems to do Lightning Lane. What I was more shocked about was the Lightning Lane Premier Pass went up like almost $100 to $200, which I found very interesting because I don't know too many families would pay.
I don't know either. I don't know too many people that get the Premier to begin with. So the fact that it gone up another $100-some,
yeah,
I don't know why. But that is very true of what Wizard says here. Avengers won't open until 2027 at the earliest. So if we just got this price hike now, At the
Good
end of
point.
2025, we're probably going to get a significant spike in 2026 and
Yeah.
then again in 2027, and that is just with Avengers opening. Coco and Avatar aren't even up yet.
Wow. But see, like you and OG, and I'm gonna take this phrase to heart for the rest of my life. If you don't vote with your wallet with these companies, and you keep buying and you keep purchasing these magic keys, you keep doing the preferred parking, you keep doing the premier pass, you keep renewing your believe and inspire. That's just telling Disney, hey, keep raising those prices. People are going to buy into it no matter what.
And that's why Disney will keep on doing it, because they know the namesake of the brand Disney, people will
Yes.
always go to, because it's such a higher premium type of experience, and they know they got us with it. Now, here's the other thing too. This is where Disney is trying to weed out locals. They're trying to weed out annual pass holders and magic key holders, because they want to try to get more people to travel. They want more international travelers, more families, more newbies, new greenhorns, or whatever the terminology that you like to use, because they know with us, we're already locked in. They don't have to appease us. They have to appease the consumers that don't go X amount of times each year. They might be like once in a blue moon or a once in a lifetime trip. Those are the people they are appeasing. And I want to see if I can find that. I think it's on here. And Mr. OG55. I'm going to see if I can find. Hold on, I'm going to take this down. But
Sure.
yeah, while I'm trying to find that, conductor, what say you on that notion? Like, as far as Disney aiming more for the everyday consumer and not the diehard consumer.
So I'm gonna say this. So I think Disneyland, not Walt Disney World, but Disneyland's trying to be like Walt Disney World. They're trying to cater
Agree.
to the tourist um, guests and whatnot. And I can't blame them for trying, but my problem is nothing has changed yet. Now, if they want to justify this type of massive change, I consider it massive. Most people probably don't, but I do. If you want to consider this massive change in price increases, and like George said, this is not just with the magic keys, with the parking, with Lightning Lane. This is across the board. That's what I said on my thumbnail for this live stream that I'm restreaming on Theme Park Conductor. I clearly said this is across the board. So that means food, that means merch, that means any type of experience at the Disneyland Resort that you have to pay for. All prices went up. So my whole thing is, if you want to cater not only just to the locals, but more of the tourists, why not do it when we have new experiences and new lands to offer the tourists to come to Southern California to experience? We've had pretty much the same Disneyland and DCA for over 5 years. So for me, there's no justification for this. Like Theme Park Wizard said, Avengers, those two attractions probably won't open until 2027. Now, I could see a price increase towards the end of 2026, maybe right after D23. I could see it then, but why now? When we're not going to get anything new, and there's going to be so much construction walls between DCA, between the Esplanade, between downtown Disney, and we're probably going to see some construction walls in Disneyland itself. Why are we getting prices now? I understand they want to increase it yearly, but this is a massive jump. At least offer new experiences and whatnot before you do this. That's all I'm saying.
Now, and to Theme Park Wizard, he says prices will increase every October, which is very true. We have seen that pattern before. And as I mentioned, Wizard, my only thing is, again, we do expect each year there's always going to be a price increase. I'm just surprised at the significant amount
Yeah.
when nothing is really coming out, and it's going to be very telling of what it's going to be like when this stuff does open. And
Yeah.
it's going to be well over $2,000 for the Inspire. I could tell you that much.
Yeah.
But kind of even going off of what I was mentioning about not really catering to the annual pass holders and Magic Key holders. Well, more so Magic Key holders, because this is for Disneyland, that they're even trying to entice people to say, yeah, don't pay $1,900 for the Magic Key. Go for this special deal. Disneyland announces 2026 California resident ticket deal, a 3-day park hopper for $249. So they're even enticing Magic Key holders to say, you know what, let your Magic Key go. It's getting expensive.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Go for a $249 ticket. Why? Because they're trying to get the regular park date ticket holders in there.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy to think about. I don't know. It's kind of like it's a catch-22 the way I see it. It's something it's like Disney has you over a barrel. They already know they got you. And again, like Wizard and OG said, every October they're going to play this, increasing game. And I get it. Things get expensive. Merch that they probably get from, well, I don't want to say it. I don't want to start a conspiracy, but merch that they have shipped in, materials they have shipped in for new experiences, materials get expensive. So I understand it. Wages go up for labor costs for the cast members. I get that. So it's just I have to agree with George. It's just I get the increase, just not as much as it is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And Mademoiselle gifts $4.99. Thank you so much, Mademoiselle. Greatly appreciate it. What is your price cutoff for a pass? My max is $2,500, and that'll likely be the price when Coco, etc. opens. Great question, Mademoiselle. Conductor, I'll let you go first, and then I'll pull in the rear.
So, my price, God, $2,500 is a lot, and I think I would match Mademoiselle. I think I would go $500 more and hit $3,000. I think I'm willing to take that risk. I hope I don't have to, but $3,000 would be my cutoff. Because at that point, not to get personal on my trip, I'm doing in March with George and Tommy and George's wife and OG. But $3,000 is more than what I'm paying to stay out in Orlando for 2 weeks at 2 different hotels between Universal and Walt Disney, and to have tickets for each one of the parks, and one park in particular 2 or 3 times. So $3,000 is more than I'm paying for this trip, which is insane for a Magic Key.
It is very true. Now, I do want to also mention too, and this is actually where you can cut corners as well when you're doing a big trip. We're basically doing this as one big whole package, and we're all dividing the cost. So that actually helps a tremendous deal as well. See, with a Magic Key, when you're just doing it all by yourself, you have to pay the whole thing up front on your own. Or if you're a local, you can do the monthly payment installments as well. For me, see, here's the thing. Right now, I would say like my cutoff would be 3,500, but I don't want to solidify that in stone, because who knows, by that time when it comes, it may hit $4,000 and I say, you know what, I'll just do it. It's hard for me to say like that would be my definitive price.
Sure.
Because I also am a content creator, and this is part of like my growing business and everything. So it's hard for me to say that I could just let it go. I think if it was a different situation where if I wasn't doing this and I was just doing it like going on vacation or, once in a while here or there, Probably, I would say 3,500 would be my cutoff.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But still, it's a lot. And then once we get to the price increases at Walt Disney World, there's something that I want to bring up is, well, I'll bring it up now. So a good friend of my channel and George's channel, he told me earlier today that he talked to another friend of his that works for a booking agency. I can't say what the agency is, but a booking agency. And one of the things they told him was basically, in a nutshell, looking statistically, as of today, more people are deciding not to book Walt Disney World trips or cruises. Well, maybe not the cruise part, but Walt Disney World trips, and they're favoring Universal because Universal, at least out there, has just the same amount as Walt Disney World offers, and it's a lot cheaper to do so. So they're seeing a shift in the shift in the force, to quote Star Wars, a shift in the force with prices and with families. So and again, I understand Universal increases prices as well, but I don't know. I haven't seen Universal, at least out here in Hollywood, really increase their prices dramatically. So in a way, I don't know if this hurts the Walt Disney Company both on the East and West Coast, or it's just the East Coast. But again, when the way I see it is, most people that take a Walt Disney World trip nowadays, it at least for a family of four, it almost costs them about, I would say, $6,000 to $10,000 to do a Walt Disney World trip. That's how insane it's getting. And I'm not saying Universal's cheaper either, but they are cheaper when it's compared to Walt Disney World. So again, does the price increases, all across the board on the West Coast and East Coast, does that justify it? Like George says, next year it could be $2,000 for an Inspire key, which is insane.
Yeah. Or unless they go the route where they did a big jump, and
That's
then
true.
next year they might trickle in a little bit more.
Sure.
And then 2027 Avengers come, boom, they go for the kill.
Yeah.
Hits that $2,000 mark. But I have to welcome in new familia member to HaloGelato, Mr. Seymour Duck. Welcome in, good sir. Always glad to see you, and so glad you became a member of HaloGelato. So again, thank you so much, and quack quack. And yep, he's given us a duck.
Nice. Go Seymour.
Let's see. Mr. Theme Park Wizard says, that's me. We only got park tickets and hotels for Universal, just going to do Disney Springs. And see, and that's the thing. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. I'm very, fortunate and blessed that at times when I do big trips that I can do Walt Disney World and Universal, but not all the times though. There are times where I may not be able to do Universal. Like there will never be a time where I go to Florida and I don't go to Walt Disney World. That's just a give and take. Universal Orlando, that's a kind of a pick and choose. If I can make it, I'll definitely do it. But if not, then I'll do a separate trip for Universal. But no matter what, I have to make a stop to Walt Disney World.
Oh, absolutely. It's a staple. You have
like the whole point of me going in originally in March was Abby and I are attending a wedding. And I told her, I said, and this was before I even knew that you and Tommy were planning on going in March. And I told Abby, I was like, I'm not flying clear across the country just to do a wedding. I'm like, we're stopping at Walt Disney World.
Yeah. Have to.
Now, here is another piece of information also brought to by Theme Park IQ. Disneyland Enchanting Extras prices change. Savi's Workshop for a lightsaber goes from $219.99 to $249.99. For the Droid Depot to build a droid, $99.99 to $119.99. and Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Um, this is where I'm a little bit confused. It says 8 packages to 4 packages. Fairy Godmother visits. Now, I think there was another post that he did. Let me see. I think it was down here. Yeah, I think this is it right here. Let's see. New packages. The fairy tale package starting at $119.95. The enchantment package $174.95. The kingdom package $229.95.
Wow.
And the adventure package at $59.95. And I guess that's for like the young boys and everything.
Sure.
But let me see. What was the other thing there? Yeah, new packages available at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique with the visits by the fairy godmother.
Interesting. Huh.
Wow. So, yeah, so very interesting stuff there. Now, before we move on, Conductor, is there anything else that you want to tap into as far as the pricing goes for Disneyland?
So what again, I just want to reiterate that we have multiple experiences, attractions, and several lands coming to the resort. Again, I can't justify the price increase as high as it is with us going through basically for the next couple years a construction zone, and we don't have anything new to show for it. Again, if the vendors attractions were open, I could see a price increase this high. I could see, if new things were at the resort ready for guests. I can't justify it. And one of the things that kind of shocked me also when I was looking at Theme Park IQ that George just had pulled up was about the Droid Depot and Savvy's Workshop. Savvy's Workshop, do not get me wrong, people do that experience no matter what. The Droid Depot, whenever I'm walking through Galaxy's Edge, I always poke my head in there, and the Droid Depot more than half the time is dead. There's no one doing, having droids. Nobody. Don't get me wrong, there are times I do see people, but there's more times than not I don't see crowds in there. I don't see, I might see one person, and they have like what, 8 or 9 stations you could build a droid. So the fact that they increased it by $20, I kind of feel like that shouldn't have just stayed the same. Maybe the Savvy's Workshop, increase, which it did, but the Droid Depot, I just don't see why they increased it. Maybe it's the parts they use for the droids. Maybe those parts went up in price for production matters. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd to me. And
It is because it is popular, but yeah, you're right. It was already like a steep price to begin with, where I think Disney may be kind of like pushing their luck on that a little bit. So they just better be careful with that. So I do agree with you. And Mr. Theme Park Wizard says, I have a big scoop for USF for y'all. I'll text you. Please do, because over here at HaloGelato, we love the scoops. But yeah, text it to us, Wizard. We won't say anything, we promise, until you're ready that you can release it. And then once you release it, then we'll go by that.
Yeah.
And we got maybe in the house, Wizard gatekeeping.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's great. Okay, so now I want to move over from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Sure.
And because this just isn't for Disneyland, this is also for Walt Disney World too, which is pretty much a given. Anytime that one does a price increase, the other one does, which I think is so ironic because they do it together, but yet they claim that, they're run different operationally, which in a sense they are. But when it comes to price increases, oh no, they're on the same, on the same page with that. Let me see here.
And one of the things I want to see, and we talked about it on Conductor Sunday live stream. We also talked about it on Jared's channel from Cap the Magic and also Orange Grove 55's channel is with Josh tomorrow possibly being named the new CEO. And again, that's not concrete, but possibly tomorrow being the next CEO, it's going to be very interesting to me if, like Wizard's saying, with those two Avengers attractions, if they aren't going to open until 27, and that's only two attractions out of, you know, multiple attractions again with the Coco Dark ride. Then you got the Avatar Land with the at least one e-ticket attraction, possibly maybe two. They haven't said two, but I can't imagine they wouldn't have to. But it's going to be very interesting how he handles, basically the fans, the media, when he starts getting faced with questions. Why are you guys increasing prices this high? Can you justify that? Why?
And here I'm going to actually touch upon that because I did mention this in one of the group chats. This is my thing, and I think a lot of people can come down on Josh on that.
Sure.
But I feel like at this point, tying the park prices to the CEO is a little bit irrelevant at this point because I feel like that no matter who is going to be CEO, whether it's Josh D'Amaro, Dana Walden, Tom Staggs, Kevin Meyer, if it stays Bob Iger, if it was Chapek, Lord help us all, it would be no matter what, those prices are going to go up.
Oh,
So
sure.
I feel like if people tend to utilize that against Josh or even Dana Walden against their race towards CEO, I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of time because I feel like it's no matter who gets in, the prices are going to go up because it's just the way of the economy right now. It's the way of business, of how not even just Disney, but of how a lot of venues and events work. I mean, even
Sure.
with D23 coming up next year, we don't even know the pricing on that yet.
Nope.
Like, we don't even know. Like, I'm just assuming, like, okay, the prices down at the front row are going to be like, I think last year was like $2,000 to 2,500 for the front row. Then if you want still floor seats, it's about 1,500. Up in the nosebleed seats, they're about $350, and then it goes up as you move down.
Jeez.
I'm just assuming that's what the prices are going to be. I don't know if that's really what it's going to be this year. They may release the ticket prices, and it may be $3,000 for front row seat. It may be $2,000 just for the floor seats. So it's hard to say, but it's like you always have to kind of keep it in the back of your mind. And this is why I always tell people this. And everyone, please follow the Italiano's advice because I'm saying it to help you guys out. Even if you suspect something is going to be a lower tier price, always put it in your mind, put it in the back of your mind that shoot for your highest price. Then even if it's not and it's cheaper, then hey, you save a little bit. But if not, then at least you put it in your mind, hey, I already said this was going to be $2,500. This was already going to be $3,000. I can guarantee you, with both me and Abby going to D23, it is probably going to be the price of a Disney cruise. I could already see it.
Yeah, and that's something. Again, it's justified, but one of the things I wanted to reiterate from what you were saying about the CEO getting blamed for ticket prices. What I would like to see clarification on is whoever the next CEO is, even like you said, could be Bob Iger still, could be tomorrow, it could be Walden, it could be Staggs, whoever it might be. Once they are in the position, and they start increasing prices, I have no problem with prices increases because, like you said, things go up in price, the economy goes up in price. That's fine. I'm totally okay with that. But to sit there and go from, the price it was and the jump up that high, I would like to hear maybe from the CEO, maybe from someone at the board, and they publicly come out and say, hey, This is why we increased the way we did, so we could get clarification. That's all I'm trying to say, because I know prices are going to go up no matter what. That's just a given. But
It's with everything.
Oh
It's gonna be with theme park tickets,
yeah,
hotels, flights, even. I mean, probably, or even something even out of the theme park realm. Like you got again, like these event venues like D23,
sure.
concerts, sports games, bidet purchases. You know, like there's this.
Bidets are hot.
Yeah. So I mean, the prices are just going to shoot through the roof.
Sure. Definitely.
And of course, I think our good friend Capture the Magic would have loved that little innuendo.
Oh, he's laughing in his little office chair on the East Coast out there, so I guarantee he's getting a good laugh out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we got Kiki and Luca in the house. Hello to you, Kiki and Luca. Welcome in. So now I wanted to move over to Walt Disney World now. Now, this is courtesy of Blog Mickey. Shout out to them. They do great articles and what have you. So let's see. Breaking. Walt Disney World raises prices on annual passes. Shocker. Let's see. As we predicted just days ago, Walt Disney World has now raised prices on its annual pass ticket types. In fact, Disney raised prices on ticketing pretty much across the board. But we're only focused on the annual passes, okay, for Walt Disney World, okay. But that is very true. So let's see. Walt Disney World raises prices on annual pass. On average, Walt Disney World annual passes increased just over 4%, with the top tier Incredipass went up 5.2%, receiving the largest increase, which is basically what the Inspire key did over here. And the Sorcerer Pass at 1.9%, receiving the smallest increase. So Disney's Incredipass, which is the highest, it was previously $1,549. It went up to $1,629. And the highlights include with that admission to one or more Walt Disney World Resort theme parks during the year with an advanced reservation. No blockout dates apply. Make up to hold 5 theme park reservations. Standard theme park parking and everything. And then Disney's Sorcerer Pass went from previously $1,079 to $1,099. And that does have blockout dates. It shares the same theme park parking and can still hold 5 theme park reservations and what have you. So really the only difference between the two is more so that you have blockout dates than the Incredipass.
So I have to ask you before you keep going, because looking at every single pass, because Walt Disney World is a true resort with multiple parks. I have to ask you, with only having 2 parks at Disneyland in Anaheim, California, compared to its counterpart in Florida, why does it seem like the Inspire key out in Disneyland compared to Walt Disney World with their highest key is cheaper than Disneyland's, which only has 2 parks? Meanwhile, Walt Disney World has 4 parks.
Well, and that's what actually Webba was, when I was talking with Webba, he had mentioned to me, it's basically the price increase for Walt Disney World is where the Inspire key was before their increase. So It always seems like Walt Disney World is one step behind Disneyland. But I think that's because Walt Disney World is already a tourist destination.
Sure.
I feel like with Disneyland, Disney has something to prove to try to, again, stop a lot of the annual pass holders or Magic Key holders and locals to get more travelers, because eventually that's the whole purpose of Disneyland Forward, is to make it a vacation destination resort with multiple theme parks, which again, I think the long-term goal for Disneyland Forward is a 3rd gate, and it's going to go over in the Toy Story parking lot. I feel like I already got confirmation on that unofficially, is what it sounds like. But yeah, and again, those prices, I guarantee you, when the third gate comes in, look out that the Inspire key is probably going to be like 3,500.
I
I
believe it.
wouldn't be surprised at that. Kiki and Lucas says Disneyland and Walt Disney World raises prices at the same time, like they are on the same menstrual cycle, and
Yeah,
it's actually very true. And that's I was just saying that a little bit ago. It's weird that like they run operationally differently, but at the same time, when it comes to raising prices, they're on the same page.
sure.
Let's see. Capture the Magic says, I draw the line at bidets. It's a big office chair conductor.
It is a big office chair. I can only imagine. But Remy D's comment kind of interests me, George, if you want to read it.
Absolutely. Remy D says, I think Disneyland's two parks have just about the same number of attractions or only slightly less as all of Walt Disney World's four parks. And actually, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So my whole thing is, again, like George mentioned, unofficially, we could have a third gate for the Disneyland Resort, but we're talking, what would you think, George? Maybe 10, 15 years down the road?
Okay, so
Maybe.
here's the thing, and I think I mentioned this before, but a lot of people, don't get to see all the shows
Sure,
that I do. So I'll mention it again. Again, this is off the record unofficially because technically this is coming from a third party source, but this is just what he told me.
sure,
At my birthday weekend when we were staying at the timeshare, we went down to get to check in for the second room because we ended up getting two rooms for everybody to fit in. And the guy that was checking us in was giving us the whole spiel about like, okay, if you guys want to take the shuttle over, it's right outside and what have you. And he said next year, which is 2026, he said our shuttles to the Toy Story parking lot are stopping. They are on hold. They are not going that route. And he said, from what we were told, is a brand new hotel and a new theme park is going in that space. Now, again, he doesn't work for Disney. He works for the timeshare, but I find that very interesting that he would be so specific that the Toy Story parking lot is going to get a new hotel and a new theme park because that's the route that their buses drop the people off to the Toy Story lot to get picked up by the Disney buses to then take them over to the main core resort. Now, that tells me that Disney knows a lot of these businesses. They're in work with all these businesses.
sure.
So somebody had to tip off this timeshare to say, hey, you can't have your buses going over to Toy Story parking lot. Here's why.
Yeah.
So again, you could take it with a grain of salt, but honestly, I think we won't see the new theme park maybe 10, 15 years, as you said. But I think as far as announcing it, I think it may come sooner than we think.
So this is what I think could happen because obviously D23 is next year in August, and that would be for 2026. So I would say maybe by 2028, maybe 2030, D23, we can see that announcement happening. That's what my guess is going to be because that would be 4 years from now.
I think honestly, probably by the second half of the 10-year that Disney promised,
Yeah.
we'll get the announcement. Again, it's not going to be opened, but I think you're right. I think by the second half of the 10-year, we'll get the announcement, and then 5 to 7 years down the road, that's when it'll open.
Yeah, and then reiterating back to my other point about what Remy's comment was, is for right now between two parks, minus the third park, which is again unofficial, but just between the two parks, I kind of commend the Imagineering for fitting as many attractions as they have before Disneyland Forward got approved. So, to answer Remy's question, at least in my own words, I kind of feel that, the attraction amount might be slightly off between out here in Anaheim and then Walt Disney World and its parks. But also the way I see it, like George is saying, well, Disney World is a tourist destination, so they can justify kind of being a little behind on price increases compared to their counterpart in Southern California, where the resort's not really a tourist destination resort because you have more locals renewing their annual passes and more locals going to the parks than vacation guests. So again, when they do eventually confirm the third park, if they do and they start building it, and then with everything that Disneyland Forward is going to bring to the resort, could we see a slowdown on prices or price increases? Because then at that point, 20 years from now, when that third gate is built, if it's built, the skyway system that Anaheim wants to build between the Honda Center and Orange County Live, as I call it, and the Disneyland Resort and their 3 parks, could we see a slowdown on price increases? Because then at that point, they can justify calling the Disneyland Resort a tourist destination.
That is very true.
That's what I'm curious about.
Now, Kiki and Luca here makes actually a great point here. So to be fair, though, while Disney World has 2 water parks, golf, and even fishing, and has way more live shows and restaurants, and that is very true. When you look at Walt Disney World, a lot of people just look at the theme parks.
Yeah.
And if you just look at the theme parks just by themselves, they're kind of bleak in comparison to Disneyland. But when you take the whole resort complex as a whole, Walt Disney World isn't a theme park experience. It's an entire resort immersive experience. So they want you to go to Disney Springs. They want you to go to the water parks. They want you to check out the mini golf. They want you to do some of the other activities in the resort. And there's plenty, like as Kiki and Luca said, golf, fishing. They have speedboats. They have parasailing. They have pontoons. You can go horseback riding, carriage rides, like you name it. Like any kind of recreational activity you can do in Walt Disney World.
That's crazy.
So like if you do take that into account and you add that all in, then it kind of evens out to what, even though Disneyland has a lot more attractions in its park than any of the 4 theme parks combined, but if you're going to put all this stuff into play, it kind of balances out.
Yeah, it does. It honestly does. And again, I want to give a big thanks to George and his wife, Abby, for setting up this trip that I'm going to be going on in March. It's literally going to be my first time in Orlando seeing not only Walt Disney World, but also Universal Orlando. And I cannot be more thrilled to see and look at the architecture, kind of like what Bricky does, and break it all down and take it all in. And I don't even think 2 weeks for me is enough to take it all in, but I'm going to get a big chunk of it though.
Oh, you are. Yes. 2 weeks is, I'd say, a great start. But yeah, that is really the point of Walt Disney World, is you can never get everything in one trip.
No.
And again, a lot of people may say, oh, for the theme parks, yeah, of course, you can, for the theme parks, it's like, yeah, I can get them all done like in like 3 or 4 days, but again, if you're adding all the other activities into it, then yeah, it can take you some time for sure. Let's see. Kiki and Luca says that I've already read that, so sorry. Brian says Walt Disney World is the same size as San Fran with 40 to 43 square miles up, which is, yeah, it's about the twice the size of Manhattan Island.
That's insane.
So definitely bring your walking shoes.
Yeah, no kidding. And refill that thermos.
Yes, drink plenty of water. So I wanted to continue here. So Disney Pirate Pass was previously $829. It is now at $869. And these are the lower tier passes for Walt Disney World. I think these ones are just for the Florida locals if they choose to get these. Because actually my cousin actually has this one, the Disney Pixie Dust Pass, and it went from $469 to $849. Now, here's the thing. It only went up $20 for that, but here's the thing. My cousin, they're a family of 4, and all 4 of them have a Pixie Pass.
Wow.
So that's an extra $80 attached to their passes if they continue to keep them.
Insane.
So yeah, so I mean, like, that's, let me see, make sure anything else here. Yeah, that was the only thing there. And again, that comes from Blog Mickey. Shout out to them for all the great work and articles that they come on. Now, here's the thing. Before we move on, Conductor, I want to ask you anything more with Walt Disney World side?
No, not at all. And again, it just, I have to reiterate, even in Walt Disney World with Animal Kingdom going under massive construction, you know, you got Magic Kingdom itself with the Rivers of America going away and that construction. And I don't believe Thunder Mountain's back open yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And I know ours just went down for refurbishment as well. I am curious though, you know, with the resort and whatnot, you know, what stage of construction they are going to be in when I'm out there in March. And I'm not just talking about the Rivers of America. I'm talking about the new Cars Land, Villains Land, the Tropical Americas, and Animal Kingdom, because we're going to hit all the parks while we're out there. We're going to hit every single one. So I'm very curious on how fast the construction is going to happen. And then plus, aren't they building new hotel resorts out there?
Right now for Walt Disney World, they are working on the new DVC, the lake.
Okay.
God, it was the Lakeshore Lodge, but I think they changed it. I forget the name of it. It was titled Reflections, Lakeshore Lodge, but they changed the name of it. If someone in the chat knows the new name, it escaped me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring this up too. Again, I don't know like how thing is. This is also from Blog Mickey, and it says at the time when all this is up, it says like the prices. While Disney World ends discounted pre-arrival Magic Band Plus offer for hotel guests and annual pass holders.
Interesting.
And I think that's kind of interesting that that's a weird time that you're going to boost prices, but you're going to, you know, end discounted offers like that. That's very interesting.
Well, see, the thing I saw on this, because I saw it as well before we went live, is one of the things is, you know, you're spending so much as a guest to, you know, plan a trip, not just the plane flight, not just the hotel stay, not just the resort tickets, but you got food, you got if you want to buy any merch, and if you're from out of state, okay, like I'm probably going to do, and I'm guilty of this myself. When I'm out there, I might get some merch, but I might have it shipped back to California. I'm not going to take down the plane flight. So, you know, you got that expense as well. Then you got, like George is saying, all the recreational stuff. You know, again, I have no idea what we have in store, you know, while we're out there for 2 weeks. But let's say
I have one thing planned.
Okay, well, I don't want to know about it.
I have one thing planned, and I'll just say this: it's actually not going to be in a theme park. So,
okay, it better not be parasailing, or I'm going to freak out. So, it better not be. But like George is saying, like you got parasailing, you got fishing, you got all these different recreational things. Let's say I wanted to do that. That's another expense. So, you know, for Disney to sit there and cut something like that, because I have to tell you something, even though we have far less features with the Magic Band here at the Disneyland Resort, I do have to say one of the best things I love about it that it does offer is scanning into the park. Because I have to tell you, it is quite annoying to pull your phone up and try to pull up your Magic Key, especially if you have cell service that doesn't want to cooperate. So having the Magic Band and just touch it to let your, you know, to get in is a huge lifesaver. So
Mhm.
when people want to get the Magic Band out in Walt Disney World, obviously it has a lot more features where again you can scan into the parks, you can link your tickets to it, you can buy I believe you can buy food and merch with it if you link
It
your
opens your door to your hotel.
exactly. So you can link your credit card, and it's like having an Apple Watch for the Magic Kingdom. So the fact that they would sit there and announce they're discontinuing that offer when you're basically having to go to a bank and get a bank loan to go on vacation to Walt Disney World, that is weird timing. They would sit there and get rid of that feature.
And hey, if push comes to shove, as I said, I only need one kidney, and they could have the messed up one that holds the kidney stones. So,
Oh god. Oh man.
and Kiki and Luca does mention, yeah, there's a new California resident offer, 50% off Park Hopper from January until May 21st.
Wow.
Yep, it's $249 or $83 a day. And again, yeah, I do agree with you. That is a really good deal.
It
If
is.
again, if you don't want the Magic Key, and I think that's Disney's way of saying, in a way, we're raising the prices on Magic Keys. Don't get it. Get this 3-day Park
Sure.
Hopper, because essentially that's why I think they're aiming for the California residents.
Yeah.
Um, because they know a newbie or a greenhorn or a traveler, they're going to buy tickets regardless. So
So
they have to convince California residents to not go the route of Magic Key, but to tickets.
so I want to ask you something. Going back to the Magic Key for Disneyland,
Mhm.
I want to ask you about the Inspire. Because we both have the Inspire key.
Yes.
Obviously, now it's going to be 1900 a year. Um, when we go to renew. Do you think because right now as it sits for merch and food, it's a 15% discount. Do you think Disney would be generous enough to increase that to 20%,
I
knowing that
think
the
I don't
price?
know I don't know if Disney will do it now, but I think that is the route that Disney might have to look into when they start to see the percentage of people falling off when we say, quote unquote, vote with your wallet.
Yeah,
That's where Disney would then start to put in the benefits, not to retract the pricing. They'll never retract the pricing.
no,
Very rare. I think they would have to see a significant drop if
yeah.
that was the case. But they can add extra features that can level up as to why you're paying more for that Magic Key. For instance, as you had mentioned, um, still continue with the free parking. Um, have higher discount rates on merch and food. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I would love to see even an attached Oogie Boogie or Halloween party ticket attached to the Inspire,
So
sort
so
of like
like
how
so
Universal does
with
uh,
HHN.
with HHN.
Yeah, so you get one free night, and I love that. And one of the other things I would like to see if they continue to do price hikes like this every single year in October is with basically the Disneyland Resort, and I've said it multiple times this live stream, with the Disneyland Resort basically being a construction zone in many areas of the resort. One of the things I would love to see, and they've already started with a great start with the entrance gates. I think that was a big upgrade. But again, I refer back to the Magic Key. If if the, like George heard from the vacation rental is if they decide to build a third gate in the Toy Story parking lot, okay, and build another hotel with the theme park, I would like to see the Magic Bands have more features like the Walt Disney World Resort with using it to pay for merch, using it to pay for food, using it to get into your hotel room, using it to pay for parking if you're not an Inspire key holder. I want to see that infrastructure come to the Disneyland Resort, and the way they have explained for Disneyland Forward on what they're bringing and even projects they haven't even announced yet that could be going into the Simba parking lot, the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, again, the Toy Story parking lot, if they make that the third gate, is I want to see these features, and that justifies it by
Yeah.
doing that.
And honestly, I had some sources tell me that the second half of the 10-year, we're going to get bigger and better announcements and surprises than what we just did at last year's D23.
I
Now,
believe.
again, you take that with a grain of salt, but this is coming from sources that know people who know people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I mean, so again, prices are just going to keep going up, unfortunately. We got Jesse Adventure in the house. Welcome in, Jesse. So glad to see you. And we got the one and only Mr. Tommy Toon World in the house. I need that California discount year round. You know what? I think honestly that would entice people.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think if they did have something like that where it was kind of year round, where it stretched the 12-month period, I think people would stop their magic keys. I think they would. And if that's the route that Disney wants to go, then maybe that's how they should approach it.
Yeah.
Now, kind of moving on, we did talk a lot about the price hikes, but now let's get into where the strategy comes in. Because on top of where they're mentioning all the price hikes and everything, Disney decides to drop some extra information on us regarding the parks of the Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World. For instance, starting here from the GOAT himself. Now, this is Scott Gustin's post, but I do have to say, I was informed by Mr. Theme Park Wizard of this before I saw this article. So I do want to give a shout out to Theme Park Wizard for bringing this to my attention. So Scott Gustin says here, Disneyland filed a permit to install a construction fence at the site of the upcoming parking structure and transportation hub on the east side of the resort. The fence will mark some of the first visible signs of work on the arrival updates announced earlier this year. And so essentially what that means is they're literally starting the process for the Eastern Gateway project, which I'm really surprised it has taken this long after the fact that they got the green light from the Anaheim City Council in 2024, and we're about to go into 2026.
Yeah.
And I just find that amazing that we're just getting into this now.
See, that's what it cracks me up, because I say it every time I'm on one of your live streams, or you're on my live stream, or I'm on OG's channel, is I find it so funny. Like you just said, got approval for Disneyland Forward late 2024. It's almost 2026. They're just starting this now, and I get it. Permits take a little bit to file and get approved, but under the Disneyland Forward project that's already been greenlit by the city council, again, you would think that would have been fast tracked. Why it wasn't, I don't know. Just recently, in the last 2 or 3 months, Bricky's reported, so several other people reported, including Theme Park Wizard, showed markings right where this sky bridge for the Eastern Gateway project is literally working. That's going to go right into the bus load and unload area where it unloads from Toy Story parking lot. It cracks me up. They're just starting this now, and it's really odd to me, because this is what I was referring to earlier when I said, about ticket deals and whatnot, with the price situation and whatnot, because this area heavily, and I mean heavily, and this is the Eastern Security Hub where we can walk in from Harbor. It's going to be under massive, and I mean massive construction. Even if they even have it open, they might block it off completely. Because if you look off to the left where the marquee sign is, and I love that marquee sign, total old school.
I do too. I'm so glad they're taking it back to like traditional classic Disneyland.
Absolutely. So I love that marquee, but you can see to the left of that, you can see where Pandora, the Avatar land, even though they still call it Experience, why I don't know, it stretches out to the Esplanade a little bit. So I could see the Eastern Gateway project, or the Eastern Gateway Security Hub closed off indefinitely at some point. And what kind of interests me in a way is that's just going to make the other security areas more busy to get into either downtown Disney or the Esplanade. And we kind of see an update on the western side next to Din Tai Fung, um, with that security hub, because it's under construction walls, because I kind of feel like they're going the same route as the other side on the west, next to the rumored, or not rumored, but the new home for Earl Sandwich, where it kind of has that nostalgic new tech type of look. I kind of feel that other security hub on the other side next to Din Tai Fung and the old ESPN zone building is going to get that update. But one thing I am curious about is, once they actually throw walls up, once they actually start building, my question is, do they start from the Eastern Gateway parking lot side, or do they start from the Esplanade side and work their way towards the Eastern Gateway?
Well, I think, and to your question, I think that depends on even when they can start up with Pandora.
Yeah.
Because again, as what you had just mentioned, is what I call Pandora's ass. That's right there. That's like bumping up against into the Esplanade. But here's the funny thing. Now, again, this is just a piece of concept art, so you can't really depict of like how far away it is from Disneyland. So it does bleed into a little bit of where the bus load unload area is. Obviously, they would have to move the buses for that, so they could still have a path for people to walk to and fro.
Sure.
Once they enter through past the sign. But just going by this piece of concept art, it does bleed into that, but it doesn't take up a lot of space like I thought it would. It's more so it's the backstage area that is running into a little bit of the bus load unload area.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is majority of the front part of Pandora is going to run into the backlot area and a little bit where the Hollywood land is, which then begs the question, is the Hyperion Theater on the chopping block because of that? And I personally feel like there is a possibility, because if you only see the back side of Pandora, not the backside of water, the backside of Pandora, and that is basically backstage area, because I'm for sure that this big lump thing is the show building for the main attraction.
Sure.
Then where guests are going to be walking is all going to be where it's already the footprint of DCA itself.
Go ahead.
Really quick, sorry. And I just want to bring up, Kiki and Luca said it's probably an Avatar experience and not a land, since there's only one ride. And then Jesse Adventures said, I think that's why they're getting rid of Monsters Inc., because they want to use that area as a temporary bypass to build the bridge and entryway. That could be that really could be. I actually didn't think of that. That's a good point, Jesse, where even though it's going to be Pandora,
yeah,
they may remove all that space ahead of time before Pandora, so they could use that to build the Eastern Gateway. Once the Eastern Gateway's done, then they can block off that part again and start reworking for Pandora. But go ahead, Conductor, I do apologize.
No, not at all. So again, we can only go off this one piece of concept art, and again, like George likes to say, don't be married to it. But I think with D23 coming up in August, I personally would like to see maybe how much Imagineering is going to basically cut off Hollywood land and all that, and kind of look like if we were standing by Guardians and looking towards that direction, how Avatar is going to look. And then kind of another view from the front by where the Five and Dime band usually plays, where Cathay Circle is, to kind of see that angle on how much of the Hollywood theming is going to be literally cut off before you go into the world of Avatar. That's kind of what I would like to see next of concept art, because we've already all seen the scale model, and shout out to you, George, and OG, when you guys were at D23 last year and saw the scale model just like everyone else did. So we know what the land, well, again, according to Kiki and Luca, experience and Disney, the experience is going to look like. But I'm kind of curious to see now the concept art looking from those 2 point advantages on how much of the Hollywood theming and buildings are going to go away to fit this in, and how it's going to, kind of, funnel in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And to what OG has always said is it's not a whole lot of space, but when you remove all those stage buildings and you flatten it all out, it could be a pretty good chunk of land. And to Kiki and Luca's point, I think that's where it's probably going to be like not a full-fledged land like you would see in Animal Kingdom. It'll be a land, but I think it won't be like, I think it'll be like the Cars area that's going into Rivers of America. It's not necessarily a land, but they're calling it a Cars area that's intertwined in Frontierland. For me, I think that's what the route that they're going to go with Pandora, but it's going to be a bigger scope, but more intimate, more smaller.
So I asked you this on Conductor Sunday live stream this previous Sunday, and one of the things I asked you about was, if let's just say it is a experience or it is a land, okay? What if they open with the e-ticket attraction, and they have another area, kind of like what they have with Galaxy's Edge and Star Wars, where you could see multiple, big entrance ways that lead to nowhere, but possibly could lead to somewhere in the future. Do you think that Imagineering will set up this experience / land to be that way, where they can open with one attraction, okay, and they can build the entrance way for a second attraction, kind of like what they did with Super Nintendo World in Japan. How they kind of built Super Nintendo World, and then they had like an entranceway tunnel to another land, but they didn't announce what it is. Do you kind of see something like that with the Avatar experience, where they can build a second attraction later on?
I see it both ways. It's like a double-edged sword.
Sure.
I feel like that's why Disney hasn't released a second attraction yet. Because I feel like if they do that, they're going the route that they did with Galaxy's Edge. And I feel like that's what initially hurt the land when it opened just with Smuggler's Run and people were waiting for Rise of the Resistance. So they held off from going to the land until both attractions were open. I feel like in that way, it's detriment to the land. And that's why Disney hasn't made that announcement of a second attraction. But here's where the positive side comes in. A lot of people think that when a land initially opens, whether it's 3 rides, 2 rides, or even 1 ride, they're like, okay, they're only giving us 1 ride. It's a one and done. There's always room for progression down the road.
Definitely.
They can always add a new ride any given moment at any time. When Disneyland first opened, with Walt Disney opening it himself, all the attractions that we see in these lands weren't there opening day. No. They were added progressionally in time. So I always say there's always room for expansion. There's always room for improvement. But I think if they were to do a second attraction, they're not going to tell us ahead of time if they decide to do it in phases.
Which I'm okay with. All I'm trying to say is, if they build it or if they decide to put a second attraction, like you said, I'm okay waiting, not hearing any announcement, and us what we do best on the YouTube channels is speculate, which is always a fun time. But they can at least build the archway to kind of maybe insinuate we might get another attraction, but not guarantee it. So kind of like what, again, I referred to Galaxy's Edge, but like you said, what hurt Galaxy's Edge is they announced that they were doing 2 attractions, but they only were going to open with one, which was Smuggler's Run, and people are like, no. Why do I want that? I want both attractions. So I agree with you. If they don't say anything about a second attraction, but as they're building the land, they set up another archway, but kind of design it where it's kind of hidden and there's no like giveaways to it. But they build the infrastructure for it, at least on the outside, so that way there's a possibility. I'm okay with that, because I do kind of feel that, at least in my mind, Avatar being a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and again, we're only I think someone online said we're only 32 days away from Fire and Ash coming out in theaters. If it's going to be another multi-billion dollar movie profit, I'm going to be honest with you. I would like to see a second attraction go into this land. I'm okay with Disney not saying anything about a second attraction, but I would like, and I would honestly think that Imagineering would set it up to where it's possible, instead of, not setting it up for the future and having to destroy stuff that they spent so hard building and spending money on. Why not just set it up for future expansion, but just not announce it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. So we have Robert Redpath. Hey guys, from Montreal, Quebec. Welcome in, Robert. So glad you're here.
Nice.
And it says, guys, Disney's just too expensive. And yeah, it really is. It's expensive for us, and we live in the same state as Disneyland. So I could imagine the challenges and obstacles for international travelers, so definitely agree with you there. And then we also have Hidden Geek Village sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Hidden Geek Village. Greatly appreciate it. I live in California. My first time at a Disney park was Disney World last July. I also did the Universal parks and fell in love with theme park content. December, I'll be in Disneyland. What should I expect for my first time? Great question, Hidden Geek Village. And again, welcome in and thanks for the super chat. So for coming into December for the first time, you definitely have to check out several things if you can hit all of these. Not saying that you can, but this is just my opinion. At the Disneyland Resort, at Disney California Adventure, they have Festival of the Holidays, which is basically like how they do for Food and Wine and Lunar New Year, but it's more leaning towards the holidays and Christmas time and what have you. They do a lot of things with the Three Caballeros during the holiday season. They do like a little Christmas thing up by the Paradise Gardens area and what have you. Over at Disneyland, they have the day kind of like Christmas parade. And then they also have like they do it in the nighttime kind of thing. I like it better in the nighttime where like Santa comes on the sleigh and everything. It's much more better. Then the snowfall on Main Street. Absolutely. I love it. I know people, then they call it Snope and, it's just like, but it still gives you the feel of like Christmas where they play like the soft hymns of Christmas with the snowfall down on Main Street and what have you. And then again, if you could also get to the other parks for Universal, there's Grinchmas, which again you can they do like the little storytelling of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You can meet the Grinch and some of the Who's in Whoville. Also, Max the dog, which is really cool. And I'm trying to think what. Oh, and then also too another personal thing of mine, and then I'll pass it to Conductor.
Sure.
Again, not sure if you can do it. I absolutely love Knott's Merry Farm. I
Oh,
love Knott's during the Christmas time era because it I don't know, they just do things a little bit more traditional when it comes to the Christmas season. They have a lot of holiday shows going on throughout the park, in the Birdcage Theater, where they do like the Gift of the Magi kind of thing, and then also the big production number in the Walter Knott Theater that involves the Peanuts gang. It's a really cool, and it's a full-fledged production show with ice skating and aerial acrobatics and all that stuff. So if you can be able to do all that during the December season, that's what I highly recommend. But I'll pass it to you, Mr. Conductor.
so again, I have to shout out to Hen Geek Village for the super chat. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. To answer your question, George was more the expert on the Walt Disney World side. I haven't been there yet. Again, in March is going to be my very first time, and I cannot wait. But on the West Coast for Disneyland and Universal Hollywood, and like George is saying, Merry Farm, but I'm going to start with Disneyland. One of the things that I like doing is, again, there's a lot of Disney or a lot of Christmas decor in Disneyland. There's a lot of great themed foods, a lot of merch. Actually, it's funny about the merch. The merch actually is already out at
Yes, it
Disneyland
is.
for Christmas, which is insane. But at DCA, one of the things I love, and I absolutely love, because we have multiple times a year, we have food festivals. So we have Food and Wine, we have Lunar New Year, and then we have Festival of Holidays, which is the Christmas theming for foods. I love doing Festival of Holidays at Christmas. They have a lot of amazing foods, a lot of amazing themed drinks, and again, the merch is just the merch is another thing. The merch for the holiday season, whether it's Halloween or Christmas, is almost addicting. You have to stay away from it, I have to say, because it you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I want that. I want this. I want that. I want this. And it's the same thing with the foods. You start seeing pictures, or you start seeing us talk about it on YouTube or social media when we post some, you're like, oh my God, I have to go try that. It's an addicting, it's an addicting hobby, but it's a good hobby though. It's something fun. For Universal, the Christmas aspect, it's more, IP based off the Grinch. There are different Christmas areas, like Super Nintendo World, I think last year was their first year, or the year before was their first year doing the Christmas overlay. It had some Christmas decor, not a lot. I'm hoping there's more this year. And then the World of Harry Potter, I have to tell you guys, and I think George, you've seen it, at night when Hogsmeade and the whole land is just dark, and the Christmas lights turn on. Oh my gosh, it's so breathtaking. It's amazing. And then in the Plaza Esplanade area, that's where they have Whoville, the Grinch, and you can meet the Grinch, Max. You can meet Cindy Lou Who. Some of the village of Whoville are walking around. And then Hidden Geek Village, I would highly recommend, since you've never been to Universal Hollywood, from what it sounds like, highly recommend doing the studio tour. It's very unique. No other park has anything like it, so I highly recommend it when you do come out here and experience it. And the final park is, again, Knott's Berry Farm, which turns into Knott's Merry Farm. I have to tell you, out of all three parks, I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all three parks, I think Merry Farm is neck and neck with Disney during the holidays. Like George says, it really, really dives deep into the OG. And again, the shout out Orange Go 55, but the OG kind of style of Christmas with the shows, with the atmosphere, with you know, the different type of entertainment, the theming, the foods, the merch, just the character interactions. And one of the things I love seeing, and it's kind of part of Ghost Town, is they do a wood carving. So you can actually they have wood carvers on site where they you know, it's like almost like it's made out of a log, like a wood log, and they can design it however you want. And I've seen some I've seen some incredible, you know, um statues made out of wood, and they carve it out of chainsaws, which is absolutely amazing. So it's awesome. So to be honest with you, I would highly recommend, like George says, come out, experience everything you can at Universal, experience as much as you can at Disneyland, and experience Merry Farm, because again, it's such a wonderful time. I honestly think between Halloween and Christmas, I think Christmas is starting to kind of lead away from the Halloween. I think Christmas is taking that top tier, because for some of these parks, what they offer is just insane.
Yeah, I agree. I really do agree. Now, I wanted to share my screen again, because again, on top of like when we were talking about like the Eastern Gateway and everything. So this is coming from Mr. Scott Gustin. Here's a first look at the Clawhauser audio animatronic figure in the Zootopia Better Zootopia 4D show opening November 7th, for which they also announced for cast member and annual pass previews dates on that as well at Disney's Animal Kingdom. He's decked out with a glow necklace and his favorite Gazelle shirt for the Zootopia Day watch party. So this is where the area was where they had Hopper for It's Tough to Be a Bug. I don't know. I think he's a really cool audio animatronic. I'm glad we're getting a rendition of him from Shanghai. But as far as the show itself, I'm very curious to see how this goes, as opposed to It's Tough to Be a Bug. Because I know a lot of people don't really like, It's Tough to Be a Bug. They thought it was too scary, too creepy and everything. But I don't know. I just felt that it was a better fit inside the Tree of Life than what this is. But again, I'm just giving you my opinion, and I'll definitely let you guys know for when we see it in March, because it'll already be open. So I'm definitely going to check that out for sure.
Definitely, and it's very interesting. Again, the detail that goes into these animatronics nowadays, and I said it even with George when the whole thing with the Walt animatronic. Again, just to touch up on that, we had our speculation, to say it nicely, before seeing it, but after seeing the Walt animatronic, it was breathtaking. The detail that went into that animatronic, and it being a new type of animatronic, and like we just saw with this animatronic, very detailed. Again, I cannot wait to see it myself when I'm out there in Orlando with George. And this IP is possibly another IP that we can be looking at for Disneyland Forward in the future. So it's very exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I would be okay with it coming to like DCA or even Disneyland Park, like off of like Bayou Country, where the Lilo and Stitch parking lot is, where they could put in a whole Zootopia land, or again in DCA. I personally would have loved to see Zootopia go in the place of Hollywood Land than Avatar, but that's just my opinion. And Avatar could have went into the Simba parking lot.
Sure.
But so wait, did I? Yes, I did. Okay, so this is coming from Drew, the Disney dude. This was for the annual pass holder preview. So Walt Disney World annual pass holders can preview Zootopia Better Together on November 5th and 6th. The 7 a.m. virtual queue will be available to pass holders with a reservation for Disney's Animal Kingdom. The 1 p.m. virtual queue will be available to any pass holder with valid admission, no reservation required.
Interesting.
Yeah, so see, there are some subtleties that Walt Disney World does, than Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then let me see, let me share here. And then again, coming from the GOAT himself, Mr. Scott Gustin, also at Walt Disney World, is updating the Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff audio animatronics in Frozen Ever After at Epcot early next year to mirror the advanced figures featured at World of Frozen in Hong Kong Disneyland. Projection screen faces, it's finally time to let it go. Thank God, because those things were so freaking ugly to look at. I'm sorry, but they were. I know it kind of fit in with the Seven Dwarfs, for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Sure. But they were more caricature, kind of funny, but where Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff, they're a little bit more established, as human-like figures. I just think it's only best that, hey, you know what? If they have them in Hong Kong, bring them over here.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm actually shocked about on why they did that. Maybe they just didn't perfect the technology back then, but the way I see it is having, and I mean no disrespect, but having a TV type face where it's projected. We've all experienced it using tech, whether it's TVs or computer monitors or whatever it might be. Pixels, they go out, after using the device for so long. Pixels, they don't last forever in these devices. So I'm very actually glad they're getting away from that projection screen faces, and they're actually going to be perfecting it even more, where they're getting away from that and getting to the point where you can actually see Elsa's mouth move and interact, and the facial features, instead of kind of looking at it like, oh, I'm looking at a TV screen face.
Well, yeah, and I've seen what they look like when they're not working.
Yeah, it's creepy.
The face is not there. It literally looks like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like, it is like the weirdest, funky looking thing ever.
I kind of thought it looked like one of the I don't know if Exorcist or like Silent Hill, but like one of the Omens.
Have you ever seen like the episode of South Park with Mr. and Mrs. Buttface, where literally their faces were like butts with like the crack of the ass?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
But we have a little special guest here.
Hi.
So,
hello.
So before we move on, what's your whole take with everything, with the price increase, with the strategy of like making these smaller announcements, to maybe kind of offset the sting of the price?
No, I'm pissed off about the price. Like, what are you giving me for that price? Like, what more are you giving me?
And believe me, folks, I've actually seen in person when Abby gets upset. It's like George getting upset. You might as well just run away.
He's seen 66.
Not going to be good. No, not at all.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the hell? Like, I saw the price increase and I was like, and what are they giving me in return for that?
See, Abby, that again, that's what me and George talked about at the very beginning. I said, I have no problem with price increases.
Yeah, I understand that.
But see, the way they jumped it between everything, and not just Magic Keys, ticket sales, Lightning Lane, parking, merch, food, experiences, whatever. and even hotel stays. But again, the Disneyland Resort is kind of just at a stale point. It's kind of between the old school Disney in a way that hasn't been upgraded in certain ways, like with attractions in 5+ years, to future expansions. It's like, wait a second, I rather you guys wait until late 2026, maybe 2027, when we start getting these new attractions. Then if you want to justify it by upgrading the price, fine, be my guest. But to sit there and not have new attractions, and then not only at DCA with reducing hours because of construction, dealing with construction walls not only in DCA, the Esplanade, the Eastern Gateway Security Hub, where they're going to be throwing fences up, downtown Disney, where they're going to have even more fences. Then you got Disneyland that's going to have some fences. It's like, what am I walking into? Am I walking into Epcot 2.0 with all these fences and walls and everything else? It's a little bit of annoying, and I have to share my feeling with Abby. I don't get it. Don't jump the price that high unless you can justify it. And by sitting there and doing that and not giving anything back in a way, it's like, okay, so you're telling me you're going to keep increasing the prices for at least 2 years before an attraction that you guys announced back in 2019, even though it's changed multiple times. I'm going to have to wait 2 more years with more price increases for an attraction that's not even open yet. It's like, wait a second. What is that?
Yeah. And about the Frozen animatronics,
They're just like everything, like just like them making these small little like announcements with like the Eastern Gateway and everything.
They're trying to give you little things so we forget about it, but I'm not forgetting about it. My wallet's not going to forget about it.
That's awesome.
So,
and I feel like a lot of the announcements came from Walt Disney World. I mean, we did get the announcement for the Eastern Gateway,
but we knew about that. So.
Right, yeah. So it's like nothing is like attached to it. It's like, oh yeah, we're raising the price on your Magic Key, but we're going to build you a brand new bridge.
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, and a concrete jungle of a parking garage. Yay.
Yeah. And here's, again, another piece of news that dropped. This is courtesy of DSNY Newscast. Breaking: Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets will officially open in summer of 2026 at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So not an definitive date, but they're saying summer of 26. So it basically can be anywhere from, I'm guessing, like May to August, which I'm for sure it's probably going to be closer to the beginning of the summer if that's what they're aiming for.
It's possible, but there's also another theory as well. They could, just like the CEO announcement, they could do something special and announce this at D23, the opening, and it could open right after D23, so it entices people to leave Anaheim and go fly out to Walt Disney World to experience this.
It's possible. I mean, because it would be August. Yeah, it'd be like the second week of August.
Yeah.
So, I mean, technically, and then a lot of people do resonate the fact of saying, oh, summer. Oh, okay, that's like June, July. But technically, if you go by the actual season itself, summer can run well into September.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that is a big possibility. So I don't know if there was anything else as far as like the news goes. Was there anything else that I missed?
Yes.
There was a lot that dropped today.
There was a lot. Even well, I shouldn't say it like that because it's not right to say it like that. But we did have a recorded heart attack death on Haunted Mansion. George, you want to enlighten us about that?
Yeah, so it was either yesterday or the day before. There was a reported incident at Disneyland where a woman went on the ride of Haunted Mansion, and right as the doom buggies were coming out for people to disembark off the vehicle, the woman was non-responsive. The ride shut down immediately. Obviously, EMTs were called, and it was pronounced of a DOA, which essentially she was gone. There was nothing more that they can do. I'm for sure they'll obviously do their normal investigation, but I seriously doubt that it really had anything to do with the ride itself. It probably was just a very bad coincidence that she just happened to have a heart attack while being on the Haunted Mansion. And this is, I mean, it's sad enough, but I mean, it's coming off the back of dealing with a passing from Universal's Epic Universe with Stardust Racers. It's just like, again, I know there are two different, ways of how, they pass, but it's still unfortunate that this woman went to Disneyland and didn't know that she was not going to walk back out. So it's unfortunate. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes go out to her and her family, for the difficult time for her passing, and then the family to deal with it. So yeah, it's a sad story.
Oh, definitely. And everything we talked about today on the live stream it's important in a way that I kind of feel that we as content creators feel obligated to report on. That way, that lovely family of four in Kansas or Utah or North Dakota that want to go experience these theme parks. I'm glad we are an outlet for those type of people. That way they can get that news they need to plan their trips. And in a way, like George says, me and him, we live in California, and there are there's power struggles some days where we're just like, hey, we want to go to the parks, we just can't. And us having magic keys, it's just because we have magic keys, the one thing that Disneyland is still suffering from COVID, and COVID kind of jump started the process, but is the reservation system. That's still an issue out here compared to Walt Disney World, where it really doesn't have that reservation system too much unless it gets out of control, then they activate it. But I rather have that type of system here at Disneyland instead of having the reservation system all the time. And I have to say, it's quite annoying, because if you're not on top of it and you want to go to Disneyland, let's say, I don't know, November the 1st, you might be blocked out because it might already be reserved. So you have to be on top of it. It's like,
and that's the other thing too. Now with the price increase with the Magic Key, we're still going to be blocked out the second half of December.
I know.
So it's like, why couldn't that be an extra feature to say, hey, we're jacking the price up $150, but you know what? Then you can have access to the second half of December for the holidays. Give a little bit back. Take a little from us, but give a little bit back. As I said, give us the second half of December for the holidays. Give us a free complimentary Oogie Boogie ticket, or whatever they're going to be doing. Maybe if they move Halloween over to Disneyland for the time being for DCA's construction. Up the discount for merch and food.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's justified. And Bulldog 9 has a comment. Go ahead, George.
Yep, absolutely. Welcome in, Bulldog. Good to see you. Reservation system controls the percentage of annual pass holders, though I have seen it open up closer to a day.
Interesting. And then shout out to Slime Square. He finally made it in the chat.
Yes, and coming in with a bang, or a complimentary hand job, for Christ's sake.
Whoa, Slimer, whoa. Okay, that's the after hours talk. Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing. He's actually taking a cue from me, because I had mentioned something in our personal group chat, but it definitely wasn't a hand.
Yeah, it was something else. I'm not gonna repeat that. That's censored. Oh my God.
But
This.
I'm trying to think. So, is there anything else? Because I want to try to cover everything.
I'm trying to think if there was something else I'm not thinking of. I don't know how you feel about jumping on Universal news real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I did Ben Crump and his team talking about Stardust. He did another news conference, was it yesterday or the day before? So I have that on the channel, and he was pretty aggressive on his comments. And I want to ask you, George, I don't know if you were able to watch that press conference. If you were, I want to ask you, at this point going forward with now Stardust Racers back open, after they had it closed, and I mapped it out for 17 days straight. And one of the things I kept repeating in my live stream when I was showing that press conference was 17 days that ride was closed, and they were able to have four other teams of inspectors, one from Mac Rides, one from Universal Orlando, one from the state of Florida, and one that was a third party. And Ben Crump kept repeating that him and the family did not feel that they had enough time to have their team of investigators go in there and inspect the ride. And he also referenced that he's part of another case, at least his firm is, another case in Colorado where a guest died at a theme park out there, and the same experts that were hired to investigate that ride that unfortunately ended the life of that guest are the same ones that got hired to inspect Stardust Racers. Now, I have to ask you straight up, do you think it was premature to open Stardust Racers back up 17 days it was closed after four different teams of inspectors looked at the ride, both tracks, all the ride vehicles, the restraints, everything? But the second part of that question too is that I think what kind of destroys Ben Crump's case is the fact that the state of Florida came out and said that the ride is good to go. And the state of Florida, after the other two attractions at independent theme parks in Florida where a guest lost their life, there's actually a video on YouTube where Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, actually insisted that the state of Florida gets more involved with inspections on these rides, including Walt Disney World and Universal.
That I do agree with. I actually agree with DeSantis on that, because I think there's a time where a lot of times Universal just does their own inspection, and they don't really have the state or other third parties come in. It's unfortunate. It seems like a lot has been going on since this incident, but I think honestly, as many people, especially because these aren't just little fairgrounds, these are actually world-class theme parks that are open basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They're constantly running. They constantly have to be maintained. I would rather feel more comfortable if all hands were on deck and many different sources of companies that would inspect, maintain, do whatever they have to. So yeah, I'm all for that. As far as reopening, I really don't think Universal would put themselves in a much bigger mess, knowing exactly the circumstances of what have already happened, if they really truly didn't check off all the boxes. And so I think honestly they did. They checked all the boxes, they crossed the T's, dotted the I's. I feel like they did whatever they had to do, and they got the green light, and they're they're like, okay, well, we'll open it up. As far as with Crump's, choice of saying, I honestly think now it's pretty much out of the hands of that. If everyone that has done the inspection and checked it once, checked it twice, what have you, if it's good to go, there's nothing more to beat around the bush.
Well, see, it's interesting because Slime Square came up or posted 2 comments. One of them was the one you have on your screen. It says plus remaining close after 4 different inspections is especially a mission of guilt. And then he went to say Crump could have filed an injunction, but he's not a good lawyer, so he didn't think of it. So actually, during the press conference, a reporter, because at one point towards the end, they took questions, and Crump was answering them. And that was one of the questions that the reporter has is, why did you not file an injunction if you wanted your people to go and investigate Stardust Racers? And his response was, we trusted Universal to do the right thing. And they kept insisting on that Universal has not contacted the family, not contacted Crump or his team of lawyers on this case. But I have to say on that aspect, when a case becomes legal, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a death case, whether it's, some other legal case, and I'm not saying Universal is a defendant. I'm just saying as an example, using Universal's name. If Universal is the defendant, they are not allowed to contact the family of the victim. They're not allowed to do that. They have to go through their lawyers, where their lawyer gets in touch with the family's lawyer, and they communicate that way. It's I don't know if it's totally illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think it's something that Universal could just reach out with the family. They have to communicate between the lawyers. So Crump was, I'm guessing, wrong on that aspect. But he got very upset, and I mean almost animated, and I don't mean animated in a good way. I mean animated like he was pissed off when that reporter asked him that question. So the fact that he didn't file an injunction, I don't know how I feel about that. And then he started making accusations like, oh, well, Universal let us know, they reached out to us and let us know that the ride was going to open the day before. It's like, well, if you're saying they reached out to you, so they did communicate with you, so what's going on here? It's like 2 conflicting stories, and I kind of feel bad for Kevin and his family. I just don't feel like Ben Crump at this point, and Jared from Capture the Magic has been reporting on this. I don't think Ben Crump is the best attorney that family could have had.
Yeah, I agree. I think they probably could have found someone else that could have taken a different perspective, a different direction, for sure. And as I said, I do hope, to some degree, the family could, settle whatever they need to with Universal,
Sure.
And put their family member, to rest at ease, and what have you, and that Universal can continue on moving along with their business. But we got Disney Diva Jem in the house. Welcome in, Jem. So glad to see you. But yeah, it's some crazy news out there. I mean, like with the death at Stardust Racers, now the death at Haunted Mansion, the price hikes, the trickling of the news, and basically this is all going to come to a head literally in 2026 when they make the announcement for the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, on top of now at the next D23 fan event, Ultimate Fan event, where they have to now compete with themselves based off of what they announced last year. How do you top that?
Well, so I want to ask you about something, because one of the things that I talked about, I think it was on Conductor Sunday live stream when you were on with Jared was, if whoever the next CEO is, and it looks like Josh tomorrow is the front runner for that. Do you think, because they have to announce it in 2026, do you think they'll announce it at the beginning of the year, or do you think they will announce it at D23 at the Honda Center with 20,000 plus fans there?
See, I think that would be one hell of an announcement to make a D23. I've just heard from like multiple people, and they even said that they're probably going to make an announcement earlier on in 2026, probably during the shareholders meeting. That's probably when they'll make the announcement. But even so, even if they do at the shareholders meeting, I still think it would be kind of cool that by the time they do get the D23 to celebrate it and bring the next person in for the next generation, they should have a kind of a big bang, like a big shingding ceremony. Yeah, like a welcome ceremony.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I would love to see that. But anything you can think of?
I think we covered everything. I mean, literally,
that was
again, just a typical Wednesday. You think you'd wake up and like, nope, price hikes, and it's like, oh, but we're gonna like take it easy on you guys. Like, even if we're raising the prices, here's what we're gonna give you. We're gonna give you the annual pass previews for Zootopia, Better Zootopia. We're gonna give you the approximate time for Rock and Roller Coaster. We're going to tell you, oh, we started the permits for the Eastern Gateway. That should have been done like a year and a half ago. But it's like they saved it for when they wanted to jack up these prices. Disney knows its strategy. It's a very well-oiled machine, and they're very smart. So they probably already had these permits pretty much like set in stone, but they're like, okay, when can we release it? Let's when we're going to jack up the price. Exactly. And Disney Diva Gem says, if the announcements do not show more value, and if they don't move faster with the projects they have already announced, I predict that more pass holders will not renew. Exactly, Jim. And I feel like that is Disney's goal, is to kind of lessen the annual pass holders and the Magic Key holders, because they're going to want a lot more ticket holders.
Yeah, I see that.
Let's see. I would love to see Josh tomorrow take off his cardigan and then put on Bob Iger, which looks exactly the same as a passing of the torch. That would be cool. Passing of the torch, but yeah, passing the cardigan.
Yeah, there you go. I love that.
Yeah, that could literally be the title of the ceremony, because with D23 they title everything with their presentations and panels. So they could actually title it the next CEO passing of the cardigan.
I love that. Seriously, I love that idea. I'm not even kidding. That is an awesome idea. Wow.
Yep. And then after Josh puts it on, Bob can whisper in his, like, give him a hug and whisper in his ear, by the way, I didn't watch that for over 15 years.
Oh, God.
Hopefully the magic comes off.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm giving you my magic.
There you go.
A little faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then we have Candid Camper with Theme Park Thoughts. Welcome in, Candid. He says, as what we always say, vote with your wallets. And then also Candid did say, I'm going to come up here real quick because I saw his comment, but I wanted to click on it, but I forgot to. Where was it? Did I miss it? No, here it is. A year to change a few screens and put in a few Muppets. I mean.
Well, see, that goes with the theory as well, with why Monsters Inc. at Hollywood, the Hollywood backlot's closing, because a lot of people hinted at, and it makes sense, that they're building a brand new Monsters Land at Walt Disney World, and they're going to use some of the props and animatronics and set pieces to install in the Monsters Land out there. So it makes sense why it's closing early. So there are multiple reasons.
Recycle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Slimer says a remote control for Bob Chapek in the left breast pocket.
Yeah. Awesome.
And Brian has a question. For the price hikes, do you blame Disney? Every year people complain about the prices, but it's always rammed and people still go and they keep selling out the parties. Yeah, in a sense, Brian,
That's
you're
right.
absolutely right. Yeah, because people still go. And yeah, as much as we complain and we bitch and we moan and
I still
everything,
give them my money.
we do it. We're so guilty of that. And Disney's not gonna budge
No.
until they see a significant decrease in spending and park attendance, and not park attendance meaning annual pass holders or magic key holders, just in general. Because
Yeah.
again, they want to see a decrease in annual pass holders and magic key holders,
Yeah.
but they want to see more ticket holders.
Exactly.
And yeah, and as Kiki Lucas says, it's supply and demand. The 2 keys that did not go up in price are not sold out. So
That's
yeah,
right.
it's true. It really is true. It's like where you say, "Oh, I'm going to give you a basic ticket, you know,
Sure.
just for whatever. Oh, but I'm going to give you an all exclusive, pass that no one has ever seen. It's very limited. Which one are you going to go for? You're going to go for the one that is enticing, that's more limited, that's more exclusive." And that's just the way of the game of business.
Yeah. And see, again, it's interesting to me because think about it for a second, because we saw from that chart that you had earlier, George, where it showed price increases for not only just the 2 passes, the top 2 passes, the Inspire and Believe key, but or the prices increased for parking, prices increased for Lightning Lane. So my question is, people that are either the other 2 lesser magic keys or just a general ticket holder, think about it for a second. Let's say, just for hypothetical reasons, I had the Inspire key. So right off the bat, before I even enter the resort, $40 right off the bat for parking. Okay. Let's say it's a semi-busy day and I want to experience everything. And I mean everything. So Lightning Lane, $40. So before you even start experiencing the magic at Walt's or Original Magic Kingdom, you're already in the hole $80. That's what you have to look at. So, I can see why the Inspire and Believe key, especially the Inspire, because I even said in my post earlier this morning and woke up George from his beauty sleep at 3 a.m. with the notification stating that the Inspire key went up, I think it was 8.2%. So because people find that pass out of all 4 of them the best value, even though it's gone up in price by $150, is because you get the free parking, which in any other case would cost you $40, and you get 15% off with merch and food. So in a way, and even the Lightning Lane, you get a 15% discount. So like George is saying, the Walt Disney Company, they're trying to make the Disneyland Resort less magic keys, more tourist destination guests. That's why those top 2 passes are going up in price.
That is true. And actually, Disney Diva Gem, good question. For theme parks, when do they price out ticket holders? Is the real question. And really, technically, that is the real question, because we already know that they're trying to, again, like, wheedle us out little by little. But yeah, where is the cutoff that actual regular ticket holders will say, you know what, whoa, this is way too much?
Yeah.
I mean, we've even had someone in the chat from Canada that was already stating that, like, Disney has gotten way too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's like Disney does have a strategy, but sometimes it may come back and bite them in the butt. But Bulldog9 here says, prior to the price hike, I found after you visit a few times in a month with the lesser passes, you're better off with the top tier. And that is very true. That is very true. I feel like the top tier, you're still kind of banking for your buck, and you're actually getting more out of that value.
Definitely. And that's something, again, like Disney Diva Gem said, is, how far is the Disney company going to go before they start pricing people out? So my question is, at least here on the West Coast and the East Coast, but the West Coast I know better, if people just start throwing their hands up and saying, you know what, we, instead of going to if they don't decide to become a magic key holder, and they're just people that go buying tickets, and they're like, you know what, we just can't afford to go multiple times a year. We're just going to go once a year. Meanwhile, they got other theme parks like Knott's Berry Farm. They got Legoland in San Diego. They got Universal, which right now, Universal Hollywood, as small as it is, it's going through a humongous, and I mean humongous, transformation, and possibly expanding the theme park aspect of that park. And a lot of people, I kind of feel, are going to start heading more toward Universal, towards Legoland, towards other theme parks. But don't get me wrong, Disney is not going to lose as much as people say they are with other people going into the parks, because it's going to be cheaper. Because you're always going to have, and Georgia and I and OG and so many others have said it, you always are going to have the Disney. How can I? What's a good name, George, for those type of people that always will go to Disney no matter what and pay whatever price the mouse offers?
Oh, that's me. I'm a national original keyhole.
Okay, perfect. So exactly what George just said, something like that. But you're always going to have those type of people, and I'm guilty of it too, because I have the Inspire key. I've probably been to the Disneyland Resort in 2025 to pay for my pass 3 times over, so I'm guilty of it myself. But again, Disney Diva comes up with a great question: when does Disney eventually just start pricing people out? When?
That is very true. It really is. And honestly, I don't think there's really a specific time. I just think it's going to be up to the consumer, the guest, the fandom, when everybody is on the same page and everybody literally makes the ultimate sacrifice and stops going, which I will not be included in that, because I was going. But it is actually, it's very true. Let's see, Kiki and Luca. Disney is your wife, Universal is your mistress, and Knott's is your hooker.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, I need that on a t-shirt.
Hey,
because honestly, that really is that like kind of fits in the realm of those theme parks, because Disney is like that top tier premium. That's your wife. Universal in the middle ground, getting up there. You still get some mileage out of, that's your mistress. And then Knott's, I mean, yeah, that's just your one and done hooker.
Yeah, pretty much the Wild West, as they call it over there. Good Lord.
Let's see. Disney Diva Gem says, all good points, theme park conductor. I am also guilty of it, and I have the Inspire key too. Yeah, see, and that's just it, Gem. Like, we know what the formula is. We know what would stop Disney, but is it going to stop us? And Disney knows that. It's a psychological warfare against a psychological warfare.
Yeah, that has no ending in sight. Well, it does, but
So let me ask you this, conductor. Wait, I think you already said your cutoff, but for everyone that just came in, because you had mentioned it at the very beginning of the live, what would be your cutoff?
So I would say, at least for right now, where I'm at, with my job and all that, I would say pretty much my cutoff would be $3,000. If it reached the $3,000, I would seriously have to consider probably just not being a magic key holder, or at least an Inspire magic key holder. And I would probably, kind of look at other theme parks in the area and look at what they offer and see, still go to Disney, but just not as an Inspire key holder and maybe not as much.
Yeah, I hear you. And as I said, and for me, and then I actually want to get your thought on it because I don't think I asked you. For me, I would say, again, it's hard for me to say because when that time comes and it hits that threshold, I might say, you know what, I'm still good. I'll still go for it. But as of right now, if I had to think about it, I'd say 3,500. But again, I'm saying that now, when that time comes and we get a third gate and we get a new hotel and we get park expansion at Disneyland at DCA, and just to say if it hits 38 or four grand, I might say, you know what, for a couple hundred more, screw it, I'm going to keep it. That's just how I am. But as of right now, I'm at 35. But
yeah,
what say you?
I think I'm at about 3,000 as well, just because I still pay for my kids. Maybe if I don't, maybe if I can drop them, then.
well, think about it. We're at 1,900 now. So if you really had to think about it, if we justify from this point forward, because it went up $150, we got how many years? 9 years before it gets to $3,000, maybe 10. So by then, maybe they'll be moved out. So you don't have to worry about that.
and then here's the thing too. And then when they do start paying for their own, you can justify a $6,000 price. Exactly. Because if you were then paying for 3, you'd be like, you know what? I can handle $6,000 for a year because I was doing it for 3, so I might as well do it for myself.
Yeah, no, 100%. So
and Kiki and Luca says $300 a month is $3,600. That's a big percentage of people's income. But then you have to consider if you have a family, then you have double or triple of it. That is very true. We're all looking at it through the eye point of you're just getting yours for yourself, conductor. Yeah. I'm just getting mine for myself. Abby, not so much. She's getting 3.
I get 3.
She's getting 3. But in a sense, that's just. But
I've had 3 for like 15
well, that's
years.
what I'm saying. But that is to Kiki and Luca's point. If you literally look at the bigger picture, it's not just $2,000. It's $2,000 per person. So if you have a family of 4 or a family of 5, that you're a California local and you live like right down the street from Disneyland.
Yeah.
Chances are, if you're living right down the street from Disneyland, you're pretty well to do anyway. But I digress. But still, that's $2,000 times 5.
Yeah.
That's $10,000 a year just to walk in.
No.
Just to walk into Disneyland, not counting spending on food, merch.
No.
Like.
No way. I'm sorry, but absolutely no way.
Yeah,
$10,000.
That's crazy.
Hell no.
No. Sorry, if I'm paying $10,000 for my family, I'm sorry, I'm dropping them off. You're on your own.
Exactly.
Like, see, that's when I say the government needs to start changing the child labor laws because you can get your ass out and pay for your own magic key.
Exactly. See, that's what I mean. So I don't know. It's just, I make the sacrifices because of the channel. And like George says, he does the same thing. I do it for content purposes. Now, if I wasn't doing content and I was just an average Joe Smo going to the parks just to kind of get away from my lovely job that I will say nicely has its defects, yes. I would say that even 2,500 is not justified for me. But the fact that I'm a content creator, just like George, the fact that I put the news out there for my community, and we do these live streams between our channels and whatnot, that's why I do it. So I don't mind the sacrifice, but when it starts getting too much, it's like, okay, I have to take a back seat. Because then at that point, I have to evaluate, is paying that type of money like who was it? Like Kiki and Lucas said, $300 a month. So that's $3,600 a year. $300 a month is basically almost a car payment for what you're paying for Disney a month. So, you know, like Disney Diva said, you know, at what point do you just say, I need to take a back seat? I'm not doing this. It's getting out of control.
Yeah. And here's how Disney can control the fact of the magic keys is because they keep turning them on and off.
Yes.
So it tells people to say again, and I think Kiki and Luca made that point. It's like where they kind of put it in your face to say, oh, this is a higher premium thing. We could take it away from you at any time, and you don't know when you're going to get it back. So what are you going to do? You're going to hold on to it. And how do you hold on to it? You keep paying for it.
So one thing, well, go ahead and read her comment
Right,
if you like, and then I have something to say about the pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So Disney Diva Gem says some people get the pass for themselves and they buy tickets for their kids. That's very true. I have seen a lot of people do that because they know that their kids don't go as often. You
Sure.
know, they may only go like during the weekend or what have you. But yeah, if I wasn't a content creator, I don't know. I still probably would have the magic key right now, but the threshold might have been a little bit lower. And I probably would have gotten those California resident 3-day tickets if I wasn't a content creator.
Yeah, a lot of my friends got that one.
Yeah. And then Mademoiselle says, and wages remain stagnant. That's very true, too. I mean, the prices for everything else are going up, but for everybody's wages, they're staying the same. In the state of Pennsylvania, they're still living in the 1980s, where I think minimum wage is like $7.25. I was blessed enough to have 2 jobs that was not minimum wage when I was living out in Pennsylvania. Sure. But for someone that's just starting up at $7.25 an hour,
good Lord,
how could you even pay to survive, let alone pay for a Disney vacation?
That's ridiculous. That's what I mean. That's absolutely nuts. And one thing I wanted to say about the Inspire Pass, because I've talked to George about this before, because D23, okay, and I hope I'm not giving George PTSD, but I'm going to say it anyway. The D23 is an absolute nightmare to buy tickets for. It's gone within a snap of a finger, like Thanos snapping his finger with that Iron Man glove with the crystals in it. You know, one of the things I would like to see, just like the tiers you can buy for the D20 or it's the D23 gold membership, because they have different tiers. And we've talked about that before, but that's a whole separate thing. But, you know, looking at those tiers and then looking at the magic keys, if Disney wants to keep increasing the prices, and most magic keys, I'm going to be honest with you, from what I can tell, especially the Inspire, the top 2 keys, I can kind of tell, and tell me if I'm wrong, George, I can kind of tell that most of them are content creators that have those top 2 keys. And if that's the case, and I've said it time and time again, these theme parks, not just Disney, but Universal, Knott's, Legoland, SeaWorld, they get a lot of free press from us that report on the news for their parks. So one of the things I would like to see going forward, if they keep increasing the prices for at least the Inspire and Believe key, is maybe a different like timing where it goes by magic key, where they have a certain allotted set of tickets set aside for those magic key holders per tier to buy D23 tickets. Because like I just said, the Inspire and Believe key, to me, it seems like most of the people that have those keys are content creators or content influencers in some way.
I would be cool. I would be cool with that. I know that kind of gets a little bit strategic, but yeah, if someone, or what if they had where they kept the D23 Gold membership as the highest tier. But if you are a D23 Gold member and you're also a Magic Key Inspire key holder,
Sure.
with the combination, it allows you to unlock a special day before it even opens up even to just everybody else. Like you can't just be an Inspire Magic Key holder and you can't just be a D23 Gold member. You have to be both.
Yes.
So that would then seclude a smaller group of people that are paying all that money to then get early access to tickets. Now, I asked Abby this the other day, and I think I asked you this some time ago. I think when we were doing our marathon lives for Destination D23.
Yeah.
But for D23, the Ultimate Fan event, I asked Abby and I said, just in case, just to say, if we're not able to get tickets to D23 as far as the whole shebang with the presentations at the Honda Center, I asked her, we probably could still get tickets to the Anaheim Convention Center. Would you still want to go? And she said, well, what do you think? And I honestly say that if you can't get tickets to the whole shebang, I still say, especially being a content creator, get whatever you can get. If you can get the 3 days at the Anaheim Convention Center, so be it. You have the expo showroom floor. They have all exhibits from the Walt Disney Archives, from WDI. They have plenty of other panels and presentations in the convention center alone. You're there amongst the other fans and everything. A lot of content you can, and sometimes, and maybe Disney might consider doing this, they may live stream the Honda Center presentations into the convention center. They usually have a little area where there's seats and chairs. Because I think Adam the Woo and I think Bricky was one of them where they did this one year where they were watching the presentation. I think it was D23 2022. It was either 2019 or 2022. And they were sitting in that area and they have this big kind of plasma screen.
Sure.
Like a jumbotron screen where they actually live feed to the not from the Honda Center. I think they still did it in the convention center at that time. But I wonder if they do consider doing that route, they may do so. But if not, I still say it's a cool weekend, go down even for D23 day at Disneyland and what have you. But again, there are other alternatives that, again, with it being the first time them doing this, I wasn't aware of it, where if I couldn't get all 3 days, then I'll just shoot for the Saturday.
Sure.
With the Honda Center, or maybe Friday and Saturday, leave the Legends panel go.
Sure.
And there's many different directions that you can go for that.
Oh, definitely. One of the things I want to ask you about that is, let's say, for example, at least on one side of it, let's say you can't get everything, but you got the 3 day, but you didn't get the Honda Center. Okay. What if the 3 day, because, Disney Plus is their baby in a way for streaming. What if there was an upcharge for something where you can pay for a live stream of D23 at the Honda Center, so the parks presentation? What if they offered that? The only thing I say that could go wrong with that is the fact that if they offered something like that, even if it was a couple $100, I think a lot of us content creators would say, okay, well, wait a second. Why am I going to buy and stress out on buying a ticket for the Honda Center when I could just sit home in my PJs basically and live stream the parks panel from the Honda Center, live stream it to my YouTube channel and just do a live stream and watch it live?
I thought actually they were going to go that route from last year, and I think that's probably the reason why they didn't. If they did decide to do that, they probably wouldn't make that announcement until all the tickets were sold out. And then whoever didn't get the ticket, oh, guess what? For an upcharge premium price on Disney Plus, you can live stream this. or for a whole package, you can stream all 3 big presentations. They would probably do that if they did decide to go that route. They would do that probably after all the tickets were completely sold out.
Well, let me ask you this on that aspect. If they did decide to do something like that, do you think they would allow content creators to live stream that, or you think there would be some type of copyright infringement?
I think honestly there would probably be some sort of copyright infringement,
Yeah,
because
I
I think
thought so.
like there was only, I think, one person that actually got away with live streaming. I don't know how they got away with it. I think they were like all the way up
They
in the
were.
balcony, and they were like tucked in a little nook,
Yeah.
and like they just made it like where he didn't talk. He just kind of like just sat there and just was very still. But again, you can record, you can take pictures unless they tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And if they do, they have people walking around with their flashlights, and they will shine the light on you and they will call you out in front of everybody. They don't care.
They will. But I remember that guy. I think he had at one point like 20 or 30,000 people watching his live stream. It was nuts. So it crashed like multiple times.
Mm-hmm. And that's where it crashed, because of the number that he had in there.
Yeah.
It didn't crash because no one else ever tried streaming. He was like the only one that actually got through. But yeah, it crashed on him just because of the number of people that were flooding his live. But I wanted to say too, here, Bulldog 9, how many visits per year would you need to justify the cost of an annual pass? I think it depends on which tier of annual pass you have. So let's just say if you have the highest tier, well, now that the price has gone up, almost $2,000, which now like a 1-day ticket is like what, almost $200.
A 1-day, 1 park ticket on a Saturday was $210 a person.
Okay, so you're probably, if you're just going by, right, that's not park hopper. So at least with your magic key, you could park hop. So I would say, to justify the price for a 1-day ticket, include park hopper, because you'd have to include it. Mm-hmm. I would say what, like 25 times?
Well, a park hopper ticket adds 75, so that would be 285 a day.
Right, so almost 300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you would say like 25 times throughout the year.
Yeah.
That would pretty much pay for your Inspire. That's where you would break even with your Inspire key. You would have to go a minimum, I would say, like of 25 times.
Which I already have. I think I've gone like 40 between, you.
Or no, I'm sorry, not 25, not 25. 10. Sorry.
Okay.
Because I doubled. I was supposed to double 5. I doubled 10. So probably like 10 or 15 times a year.
Yeah.
You would justify your Inspire key.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's a lot.
And then also Bulldog continues, as a content creator, is the pass a write-off, or does the YouTube income sustain the cost of the pass?
I don't know on that. That's something that maybe Orange Grove 55 would know, or maybe even Bricky, who is basically at this point, as far as I know, Bricky is more of a kind of like sponsor for YouTube, so he might have that question.
I think, as far as I know, with me just starting up, like I've always been a content creator, but now that I actually can start getting paid for it, I believe, even though if you do take any of the funds that you do make on YouTube and you can put it towards your pass, that I still think if you wanted to, if you hit a certain amount, because technically it's quote unquote your business, you could use anything as a tax write-off that is part of your business. So any passes to Disney, Universal, Knott's, hell, even if you go on a Disney cruise, airfare, hotel, receipts to restaurants, anything, your phone, your laptop, your mic equipment, everything you use basically could be a tax write-off.
And at that point, if you're not and I don't mean this the wrong way, but if you're not like financially smart to kind of set that all up, I would actually recommend maybe going to a tax place, like going to what's one that I'm thinking of?
Here is one. Here is one. I don't really recommend it because I feel like they take a big chunk out of your pay. Is H&R Block?
Yeah,
Like,
but something like that.
but something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't recommend H&R Block, folks. That's just me because I've done it many times, and they're freaking like highway robbers when it comes to
They are.
you getting a tax return. They take like a big chunk out of it. You might as well just say, well, just might as well keep it.
Exactly.
So Remy D says for $300 you can go to Tokyo Disney Sea for 5 times.
Jeez
That's
Louise.
crazy.
That's insane. Wow.
And Tokyo Disney Sea is known like right now as the greatest Disney theme park in the world thus far.
Yeah, and shout out to Jason Hill for that. He's been there multiple times.
Yes. So Brian says the presentations are the best part for like D23. Kiki and Lucas said convention center is fun. We met the actress from Moana. I also got to meet Ali'i Carvalho. I actually stood in line for almost 2 hours. She signed the vinyl album from Moana, which essentially was a gift to my ex-wife, who she still has that. I should have nabbed that while I moved out of the house. So I was the one that stood in two hours to get that. But you know what? She got the vinyl. I got the hug.
Exactly. There you go. There you go.
Let's see.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just catching up on some of the chat here.
So I want to ask you, because there was, I don't think it was a post. Well, it might have been a post by Disney. I can't remember. It was months ago, but someone posted online, because you have all these vendors and whatnot on the convention floor. Because again, I've never done D23. I'm hoping to do it.
Yeah, they're not now. That's the other thing too. They're not having that anymore.
So I wanted to kind of tap that, or tap in with you on that, and ask you, what is the big drawback by not having something like that?
Okay, so here's the thing. A couple things. Can you buy tickets on the secondary market? As of right now, you can, unless Disney or D23 changes the policy that you can't change names over to tickets. If they cut that policy out, if they add that policy where you can't do a name change, then a lot of these secondary markets are not going to go for it because they can't resell it. And then Mr. Tech Bear, welcome in. So glad to see you. So any case, to your question, conductor, here's the thing with that. And I am kind of disappointed that they're not doing that, because I love when they had people that just had their like businesses, small businesses. They had things to sell. They rent out of space. They put up their little vending stuff, and you could buy stuff very cheap. I don't want to say cheap, but I mean, like, you can get a lot of nostalgia stuff. It was basically like a giant Disney flea market. And then they also had WDW, I think NT had a booth, WDW Radio, the Diz Unlimited also had a booth there. So they're not doing that anymore. And I think the reason why is, I think Disney is starting to lean more towards a corporate side when it comes to D23, and they want to have more space for them to put what they want in there, not necessarily for anybody else. Because I think even when they rented out the space, D23, I don't think got a cut of that. That was the convention center. Wow. So Disney, I don't think even they may have got a little percentage because it was during their time.
Oh, sure.
But I think renting out the space, that was basically like Disney renting out to the Anaheim Convention Center, because Disney essentially has to pay the convention center.
Yeah.
That's basically what the vendors had to do. So that was on the Anaheim Convention Center's watch, not Disney. So Disney's like, why are we losing out on money of that? That's space that we could use. We're the ones essentially paying for the whole space. So again, but it is a bummer, because that was one of my favorite spots. I loved walking through those different vendors and everything. I am going to miss it. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with that space. because that's a huge space.
I bet.
So I'm assuming they'll probably add more booths on their end. They might add more stuff for the Walt Disney Archives and stuff like that. Maybe more smaller presentations and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm curious about that.
Same.
Let's see. Catching up here. Let's see. I think we are pretty caught up here.
I think so.
Yeah, we are caught up. Well, in that case, folks, we greatly appreciate you joining us for this 2-hour, 40-minute, and 38-second live stream. I knew this was going to be a long one. This was going to be a banger. And any time that I know that I'm going to do basically what I like to call my live marathons, I got to invite this guy on because he's like the champ. He can stick it all the way through to the very end. And we greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Also, a quick shout out to Hidden Geek Village for the super chat, to Mr. Theme Park Conductor, also Mr. Seymour Duck for becoming a new member, and Mademoiselle for the $4.99 super chat. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Bulldog9, Kiki and Luca, Disney Diva Gem, Mr. Tech Bear. Let's see, I'm just going to go through because this was a good one. So I want to showcase a little bit of everybody here. Brian, Remy D. Let's see, Mr. Slimer, which I will be seeing in less than a half hour because I'm actually doing a show with him. I'm literally leaving one show to go to another.
Nice.
Candid Camper.
Orange Grove 55.
Orange Grove 55. If you see them, help me out here, Doctor, because there's like a lot here.
Yeah, there's a lot. Matthew Murr, Robert Redpath, which he was from Montreal, so shout out to him for watching.
Shout out to Robert Redpath, Mr. Tommy Toon, Jesse Adventure,
Cap the Magic, Theme Park Wizard. Man, there is a lot.
We had a lot of we had Maybe, of course, Abby.
Of course, we have to include Abby. She's the star.
That was while I was driving.
Yeah. David,
Joey.
Trey Porter. I'm so sorry, Trey. You probably left, but I'm so sorry. No, I think I did show your thing in the very beginning. But Trey, it was good to see you in here. Yeah, we just had a lot of comments. Like it was like trying to like keep up with everybody. We also had Christian Sanchez and Lorraine Graphics. Again, thank you everybody for joining in. It means a lot to us. I had a great time on this live, even though it was with a kind of a little bit of a bummer with the theme park pricing and everything. But the positive plus side is we get to hang out with all of you. We get to chat with all of you. We get to hear your experiences, your thoughts, your opinions. We greatly appreciate it. Mr. Theme Park Conductor, it's always a pleasure having you on HaloGelato. This definitely isn't going to be the last time for you, good sir. So make sure you keep your seat warm.
Oh, believe me, it's ready to go. Hot and steamy. You can believe it. But I want to shout out to HaloGelato, George the Disney Italiano, his lovely wife, Abby, everybody in the chat, all the super chats, and just everybody watching, whether it was from the West Coast, East Coast, or from the lovely gentleman all the way from Quebec. You all are amazing. I'm so happy to be on HaloGelato and hang out with George and talk theme parks. It's absolutely incredible. And I always say with George, since he mentioned about doing the long lives, the marathon lives, as we call them, we can actually probably go for about 4 or 5 hours and not even know it. It's absolutely insane because it's just a lot of speculation, a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, and it's good stuff. It's something that we love talking about. We love speculating, and it kind of gets us away from our 9-to-5 job, responsibilities. Like Abby there and like myself at Costco. But again, like George says, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And you can find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like George, the Disney Italiano from HaloGelato, his wife Abby, Orange Go 55, Tommy Toon World, Jared from Capture the Magic, Theme Park Wizard, and so many others as we break down Universal news, Disney news, the Halloween season, all the videos and content from that, and the up and coming live streams for the Christmas season. And what? The countdown actually begins. What are we, 6 months away, George, from our trip to Walt Disney World?
Yes, we are. Let's see. We're in October. Like, actually, wait. October, November, December, January, March. 5
months. 5 months, everybody, from my very first time being at Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, which I cannot wait. And my aunt, I told George this the other day, my aunt was bugging me. She's like, I heard you're going to Orlando in March. You have to do Epcot. You have to do Epcot. I'm like, I promise you, I will do Epcot. I will take pictures of every inch of that park if you want me to prove that I was there. But she said she did it about 8 years ago, and she absolutely loved it. It's a park that you have never experienced ever in your life. There's anything like it. Same thing with Animal Kingdom. So I cannot wait. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch you experience it, because that's what it was like for me with Abby. Like, I still have fun. I enjoy it on my own time, but to take you around, to take Tommy around, OG, but anyway, that's, I'm sorry. I had to throw in my Italiano flair. Come on.
He's going to do it to you now. You watch.
Oh yeah, I expect it. You know what? I welcome it. I always tell people, like, anytime like I say something, I am like the roast master. So I love when people roast me. Like, I absolutely love it. I like, literally, bless his heart, that if Don Rickles was still alive, I would buy a ticket to go see him in Vegas, get front row seats, and just have him literally obliterate me. Perfect. Like, but in any case, but yeah, in all seriousness, to be able to take you guys around and show you, because that's what I did with OG. Like, his first time at Walt Disney World, I showed him Animal Kingdom, I showed him Epcot, and I love doing that. I love being a personal tour guide, because it's something that I'm used to, that I've done my whole entire life, and I like to look at it through the lens of somebody else's, and I'm able to provide that service in a sense of showing you around what I grew up with. So yeah, I absolutely can't wait. And really quick here too, we got Robert Colton Jr. in the house, said parking is a 16.6% increase from 30 to 35. Was it okay? Now, was that for something? Because I thought it was 35 to 40.
It was 35 to 40.
Okay, so was this for? Could this possibly maybe be for Walt Disney World?
Maybe, if he can reiterate that.
Yeah. Robert, if you're still in there, is that for Walt Disney World? Yeah, because for Disneyland, it said it was 35 to 40. And then we have Dan, fantastic live show, and Robert Colton. Oh, okay. So yeah, he confirmed it's for Disney World. Okay, so yes, even Walt Disney World, and that's what I said earlier. Disney World is always like one step behind Disneyland.
Yeah.
But even so, the price went up from 30 to 35.
Definitely.
And then Robert Colton Jr. says, expect Universal to follow suit tomorrow or Friday with their price raises on tickets, passes, and parking. Do you expect we get the 4th park annual pass announcement for Universal this week? Ooh. Okay, Phil, I know that we were going to close this up, but we got another question, so we got to answer it here.
We got to answer it. So I could promise you this: if there's any news on that, probably be contacting me again. We'll probably do another 3-hour live stream at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm probably just going to have my phone by me while I sleep tonight, because probably at 3 a.m. I'm going to get the notification again.
You probably will. I'll probably see it on one of my texts. I'm like, oh God, now I got to post and wake George from his beauty sleep.
Yeah, it's
Right,
going to be
I'm
one of
about
us. It's going to be one of us texting each other, and how it's going to be is it's going to be the link to the article.
Yeah,
So what time do you want to do the live? That's basically
exactly.
what it's going to be.
Exactly.
I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me. I mean, usually Universal does like follow suit with that.
Sure.
But that's a good question, Robert. I think honestly it should be pretty soon. I can't foresee them going really any further to not add Epic to the annual pass, because if they raise the price for annual pass, again, justify why you are raising the price in the first place. So that actually could benefit Universal. That's how they can kind of fall under the radar. If they raise the annual pass, it's like, hey, we added Epic Universe to it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a justification right there.
yeah,
So
that really is. But again, so glad everyone was able to join in on this live. Definitely keep an eye out for notifications, because yeah, there may be another chance. Conductor and I may be doing this again.
Yep.
And of course, this is Abby. I'm George the Disney Italiano. Follow us on social media, especially on Instagram under HaloGelato. And please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on HaloGelato. We got a lot of content coming out, and you'll find out firsthand when new stuff is coming out. Also, if you consider becoming a member of HaloGelato, we have a lot of exclusive member content that's already on there, and more to come out for sure. So all that good jazz. No matter how much you scoop it, we always enjoy it for every one of you joining us. And Disney Diva Gem, really great one, guys. Thanks. Thank you so much, Disney Diva Gem. Let's see. I thought you ended the show, but it's still going. Yeah, see, Kiki and Luca, as I said, we were like closing it out, and we got a question, and it was a really good one from Robert. I'm like, we got to answer it. So, yes, in any case, this is the official. As I said, this is Abby. That's Mr. Theme Park Conductor. I'm George the Disney Italiano. And as I always say, in Disney Italiano fashion, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Italiano out.